Hello there. This is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation for the week of November 12th through the 18th of 2023. So this is a forecast. It's an astrology forecast. And it's easy to forecast astrology because so many brilliant people have invented all these computer devices and things that make it really easy for us to see where the planets are going to be years in ahead. I'm just doing a week ahead. And what I start off with is the big stuff, the charts for the week and how they're going to impact, or just the climate that they're going to set for whatever is going to be playing out, the climate that sets the stage for the behavior that's going to be happening this week or for weeks to come, depending on how long this energy lasts. And then I'm going to break everything down into the zodiac signs specifically to say how is it impacting the zodiac signs specifically, and then I'm going to break everything down into the 3 decans of those zodiac signs so that you can see exactly how it's going to be impacting you based on your sun sign position in that zodiac sign. And you know your sun sign position because you know your birth date. So based on your birthdays, I'll be able to give you a general time span or birthday span of what birthdays are going to be impacted and when and how and why. So we're going to start with the big stuff, guys. This is not a horoscope. I like to remind everybody of that. Horoscopes are always based on the house positions. This is not based on a house position because most people don't know their house position. Most people think horoscopes are created for sun signs. They're certainly advertised towards sun signs because they do list birth dates and birth date ranges. Complete inaccurate, because horoscopes are based off of the house positions, which would be the rising sign. So this is not what that is. This takes the position of the sun. It figures the position of your natal sun by using the decans to give us certain ranges. And it lets me know what, therefore, based on the position of that sun, is interacting and what is aspecting your natal sun this week. So what you can expect. So let's get into the big stuff. I gotta tell you, this is kind of it's like a big but quiet week in that there is a lot of energy in the air. And I don't know if you guys have felt it. Always feel free to comment below. But there's a lot of electricity in the air right now. There's a lot that's going on and popping off. And of course, primarily it has to do with the fact that Mars and the Sun have a loose connection as I'm filming this, but this whole week they're pretty much almost in perfect conjunction or within a 1-degree orb of each other. So there's a lot of electricity in the air. The Sun and Mars are both in Scorpio. Scorpio is the ruling, is the home domicile of Mars. Before Pluto was discovered, Mars ruled Scorpio. So Mars deals with virility and drive, and also to a certain degree passion. It rolls around in confidence and definitely progress and forward motion, but especially in Scorpio, it deals a lot with that root chakra, gut, primal energy of do this. I want it. I desire it. I'm going to get it. And it's very comfortable in that space. And the fact that the Sun is now conjuncting Mars is really kind of, it's like confidence packed. It's like level 1, no higher level of kind of certainty and determination in the self, in your purpose, in where you're moving to or where you're going. Certainly this is going to impact Scorpios. We'll talk about everybody that it's going to impact and how it's playing out. There is a new moon this week, so it happens on the 13th. Early wee hours of the morning if you're in the United States. Over in Europe it'll be a little bit later in the day. Out in Hawaii or even Alaska, I believe, it won't happen until, it might, like the new moon, it still might be November 12th when it happens. So November 13th for continental US, which is where I'm filming from, so we're going to go with that time frame. this is a big new moon. I know I say that all the time. I'm a Cancerian, so new moons are big for me. I'm just going to say it. But this is really a lot going on. Let's discuss what's going on during this new moon. So we know, or if you don't, let me tell you, that a new moon is when the moon conjuncts the sun. A conjunction is when in the sky they appear, at least from the perspective of Earth, to line up, and there's no major degrees between them. There would be maybe 5 degrees one way or the other, but that would be it. The perfect conjunction happens on November 13th, wee hours of the morning. But remember what I said, the sun is already conjunct Mars. So for this new moon, when the sun and the moon are in perfect conjunction, they're at 20 degrees Scorpio. Mars is at 21 degrees Scorpio. So Mars is, it's just flat up, straight out conjunct to this new moon because it's conjunct the sun all week. On the opposite end of our zodiac wheel in Taurus, because all of that's happening in Scorpio, right? In Taurus, we have Uranus at 21 degrees Taurus, and it's been there, and that's where it is. Actually, it might have moved into 20 degrees Taurus. So there is a perfect opposition between the conjunction between the sun and Mars all week long and Uranus. But that moon comes around, that new moon starts to happen. Why is the moon so important? Because it's so close to us. Whatever energy is being reflected by the moon gets like legitimately beelined, laser beamed right down to us. So it really acts as almost like what I'm picturing in my mind is like, when a magnifying glass can capture the sun and focus it down. That's kind of what the moon is. It doesn't produce any light of its own, but it takes that energy and it just focuses it down. It like beelines, drives it in. And so there is, anytime the moon is involved, there is a greater impact on us because it really does transfer that energy so intensely. The fact that the new moon is in opposition to Uranus. Now, Uranus is the ruler of rebellion. It's the ruler of innovation. It's the ruler of independence. It's also the ruler of, I think, strategy and almost divine mathematics, if you will. It's still very intellectual, but in a almost genius level kind of way. It is the first step, really, to taking what is nebulous, what is very Neptunian, and we're going to talk about Neptune. Neptune is the infinitely possible because there's no definition with Neptune, and it takes it and says, "I'm gonna make it make sense through complex thought," and it is that intellect that can then bring us those new realities and help us expand and grow our reality. So Uranus is very much about change, about changing things or renovating them and keeping them always fresh and sexy. Neptune is involved in this new moon as well. In fact, all week long. Let's go back. So we have Mars conjunct the sun, perfect conjunction between the two of them, as in there's 0 degrees between them. They're at the same degree of Scorpio. Starts November 15th and goes all the way through the 18th. Now this new moon is on the 13th, where there's just 1 degree between them. Not a big degree at all. But while this is happening, they are in opposition to Uranus all week long. They are also trine to Neptune by this point, because Neptune is at 24 degrees Pisces this week. So there's only about a 4-degree difference in terms of that trine between the sun and Mars and Neptune, and that will remain all week, even as the sun and Mars push forward in Scorpio. So there's a trine with Neptune as well. There's an opposition to Uranus, trine to Neptune during this new moon, and by the 15th, when Mars and the sun are in perfect conjunction, there's going to be a loose sextile to Pluto. There is so much dynamic change that is happening and coming through this week. It's coming into consciousness. And this new moon seals the deal. It's almost like the freshness seal. It's kind of like, it's instead of like stamping something and sealing something, it's ripping it open. It's something new is coming out. There is absolute newness coming out. And since we have the Mars and the Sun, this is conscious. You know, this is we're fully capable, we're fully aware, and we're all in. And so there's rapid movement when it involves Mars. There's like a huge push forward. Mars loves to put the gas on things. So there could be major leaps forward this week personally, depending on how all this energy is interacting with your natal suns, which we will talk about in the zodiac sign specific readings. But this new moon really brings us the energy of huge breakthrough and huge purpose and huge drive, and we're not going to take it anymore. You could think of Dee Snider. She's just yelling it in your ear. This sense of, now I know I have a purpose and I'm certain of my direction forward. I don't want to take this anymore. This is old crap that can't be holding me back. Interestingly enough, there's also a loose square to Saturn as this all happens. Very loose square, but a pretty loose square to Saturn as this all is happening as well. So we don't like feeling this restriction. There's also another kind of needle point that's happening to us right now, kind of like a pebble in our shoe with a semi-square to Venus all week long between the Sun and Mars. What does that mean? Something that's just agitating us, a desire, like an itch we can't scratch, almost energy. And what is it for? It's what all semi-squares are for. To push you forward, like that spur in the side. It's like, yeah, we're going to make you a little bit uncomfortable here because you can't settle. You can't do it. We got to make you want it. And so there could be some irritation when it comes to finances this week. Finances, or not just finances, desires, what we're attracted to, what we lust for, not being fully in alignment with what we have in front of us, which is intended as a motivation to kind of make us realize, I need to do something different. I need to make this change. I need to break free of old patterns, old habits, old routines. And this will come into consciousness and awareness now. Scorpionic energy really just makes us super determined, almost to the point of obsessing over, we want this, we desire it, this is real, we're going to get it. It's almost the perfect place to resurrect a sense of purpose and determination in ourselves. So, Venus and Mercury, I'm going to get into specifically a prediction that I have for the new moon, but the rest of the week, Venus is sextile to Mercury all week long. So Venus being semi-square, being that needle point in the side of us taking action, sextile to Mercury means there's beautiful communications coming through, very crystal clear communications coming through, eloquent communications coming through. Right? In other words, you're not going to be able to deny or even avoid the information that's coming through to put that pebble in your shoe to get you to take action. Like, this is real. You're not going to be able to overlook this. And if you try, it's going to scratch you. It's going to irritate you. You're not allowed to overlook this. We have the moon conjunct Pluto on the 17th. Why do I say this? The moon is always moving very quickly. It's always conjuncting something. Well, it's big when it conjuncts the sun, because we witness it, we experience it, and because the moon and the sun represent two major aspects of ourselves. And so that's why we celebrate the new moon. This is like a fresh start. This is it's an opening. It's a time when we become more open to a different way of being, right? Because we become very solid in and of ourselves. Our id, those things that are hidden about us, or our personal selves and our public selves align. And so it's a great time to feel good enough to open ourselves up to a new reality, new challenges, new positions, new purposes, new potentials. But the moon on the 17th conjuncts Pluto, while it is sextile to Mars conjunct the sun. So this sets us up just 4 days later for emotional breakthroughs, deciding to take action, especially on our primal instinct, psychically knowing what to do and not doubting it, like as if it is a crystal clear message. It may not be coming through intellect. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. On November 15th, I wrote the Sun conjuncts Mars perfectly, which stays. And then the Sun conjunction to Mars also sextiles Pluto. Power and potency as of the 15th is profound, which means when the Sun conjuncts Pluto on the 17th, we already have this profound energy happening between Pluto and Mars and the Sun. Now we add the Moon to it, the Moon that was just also conjunct the Moon and the Sun. Some excellent realization now gets the perception, the depth of comprehension, and the potency to actually execute by the 17th, 18th. So let me just say, especially after the 15th, after the new moon, this is a very potent week for a fresh new start and new beginning, simply because we can't take staying stuck anymore. Uranus being in opposition to all of this, I mean, it should just give it all away. There is that sense of this crap has to stop, right? Some truth has to come out, some realization has to be discovered, and we also need to set things straight. Be more balanced, be more fair. And I put fair into quotations because fair can be so oppressive when it's used in the wrong way, when it's used fair that comes from fear. We have to be fair to everyone because we're scared anybody's going to get insulted. And I think we're really trying to rebel against that now, that toxic energy of fair, right? Of suddenly being able to face our own, because the Sun and Mars are in Scorpio, toxicity, or those things we've tried to keep secret and undercover and hide, especially in terms of our intentions. Remember, Scorpio doesn't rule mysteries. It rules the hidden. And the hidden is hidden because we put it away. We're conscious of what we've pushed down. And Scorpio is definitely what can it churn and burn and make us face and bring up, right? So Scorpio season is quite honestly one of the most, I think, profound and powerful seasons, because it makes us face our toxicities, right? It also tries to make us do something with them and helps us rise from our own disgraces, if you will. So major transformation, major metamorphosis that's going on, but all in the conscious realm, all of us being absolutely aware of it happening. I'm feeling huge breakthroughs and relief coming after this week. So let's start getting into the zodiac sign specific information, shall we? We're going to start off with Scorpio. Scorpio. What is happening in the zodiac sign of Scorpio? We have Mars and the Sun. We also have the Moon. That's right. The Moon comes in on the 12th and it leaves by the 14th. So for those 3 days, Scorpio also has the Moon in it. Mars is moving between 21 and 26 degrees of Scorpio this week, and the Sun will move between 20 and 26 degrees Scorpio. And then we have the Moon just coming in and moving from 0 to 29 degrees, hitting that new Moon in Scorpio at 20 degrees on the 13th, and then it will exit by the 14th. There's just such intensity. The fact that they're all conjunct is potent. That's like the perfect word for it. There's a lot of, oh my God, something's going to pack a powerful punch. And the fact that this is all in opposition to Uranus, I think it's going to shock the shit out of a lot of people. Because Uranus always brings surprises, and you can never really predict where that punch is going to land. It's going to shock the shit out of a lot of people. We have other things going on outside of Scorpio that impact Scorpio. So let's talk about what's going on with your ruling dignitaries. We have Pluto, and Pluto's direct at 28 degrees Capricorn. It's just, it's slowly trying, like it's kind of just slowly starting to move at all. On the 15th, it becomes sextile to Mars, the Mars-Sun conjunction. It is long-term, square to the nodes, and sextile to Neptune. This is profound change. Now, when it's square to the nodes, this is metamorphosis in our interests or in even our proclivities, like what we feel comfortable with. There are major shifts that are happening over the next couple of months. But the sextile to Neptune is profound and otherworldly change, especially through spirituality. And this spirituality, usually sextile, it just becomes very, very potent and very progressive. Now, this could mean some sort of change in our spirituality or our relationship with the divine, since Pluto and Neptune are also very divine connected. But that puts a lot of power and potency into the hands of our faith and our psyche and our subconscious. Over the next couple of years, over the next 10 years, there's going to be dynamic changes to how human beings live on this planet. It happens every time they sextile each other. So, how does that usually come about? It usually comes about through scientific advancements, something nuclear. I know. Let's hope we use it better than we have in the past. That's all I'm going to say. What's going on with Mars? So let's focus on this week. I try to focus on, because it's a weekly forecast, right? What's going on with Mars? Mars is in Scorpio. It is conjunct to this new moon. It is conjunct to the sun all week long. It is in perfect conjunction to the sun from the 15th to the 18th. It is sextile to Pluto by the 15th, which is very powerful for you guys because it means the virility and progress aspect of you is also combining really progressively with the spiritual primal side of you. This is major sexual virility, major sexual potency, but especially for you guys, certainty in yourself and courage. There will be nothing that can stop you. We have a trine to Neptune, between Neptune and Mars. That's beautiful. Very progressive action with regards to not needing answers, but trusting your gut, and also extraordinarily creative energy, ready to kind of initiate. Mars trine Neptune or Mars sextile Neptune is almost like when electricity strikes. It's when that je ne sais quoi like hits Frankenstein's monster and brings it to life. Like that's kind of what it is. And then we have, which is already potent, right? And this is that newness that's also part of this new moon that's happening with Mars conjunct the sun, conjunct the moon. Opposition to Uranus all week long. There's going to be major surprises. And no, I'm not even going to try to predict them. I want to sit back and watch. This is going to be a spectacle, I think, this week, especially in terms of what you are capable of and what you discover inside of yourself. You may be even surprising yourselves. Let's go into the decans, shall we? If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Scorpio, you guys are decan 1. This correlates to Scorpio birthdays in October. So October, say 22nd through the 31st, in and around those dates, that's you guys. Your natal suns are square to Pluto. Now that's long term. So this has been basically drumming up a lot of almost ruthless or relentlessness in your behavior. We also have a semi-square to Mercury all week long, which could mean words are going to agitate the crap out of you, but you're also going to agitate the crap out of people. Your words will stick this week, and people always remember how you make them feel. So be very aware of how you say, and what you use your words for, because they will be majorly potent, especially with irritating people though, and getting under people's skin. We also have a trine to Saturn, which is long-term, which means doing things by the rules, legality, the books. Wonderful time, wonderful year for expansion in your career or your career possibilities or options, growing up and maturing. And then we have your natal suns are in opposition to Jupiter. So this does pack a punch of, I want to move forward, I want to grow. This is already a sense of you may be ahead of yourself in terms of advancement or reaching out, discovering other dynamics of yourself. It is an optimistic energy, but it can also push you faster than you're ready to go, especially this week. Watch your mouth, watch your communications, because of that semi-square to Mercury, FYI. And there could be something that comes in, information that comes in that, puts that spur in your side and pushes you forward. But make sure it's accurate information. That's that little kind of caveat when it comes to any tense energy with Mercury. So just make sure it's accurate. And make sure you're accurate when you speak. Let's go on to Scorpio 2s. If you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Scorpio, you guys are Scorpio 2s. This correlates to birthdays between November 1st and the 11th. If your birthdays are, say, the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, your natal suns, just like most of Scorpio, just like Scorpio 1s, but your natal suns are conjunct to Jupiter. If you're born the 1st, 2nd, or maybe 3rd. So that's also getting ahead of yourself, wanting to expand, wanting to crawl out of your own skin and become something big. It's like curious about wider perspectives. And that's really good. You may even be curious about other religions or other philosophies. It is a great time for learning and growing in education. But if you were born around the 9th, 10th, or 11th, your natal suns are already in opposition to Uranus. So this is all about wanting to affirm your independence and not do what everybody else wants you to do, or not want to stay in the same patterns that you have been maybe for a while now. And this will last quite a while. So there could be dynamic changes to your preferences or your interests that are happening to you now. And all of you are your natal suns are quincunx to Chiron, which means there is upset about the past, challenges from the past, challenges to your person, maybe even your body or your health, that are exacerbating this energy of wanting to change and not wanting to waste time. So if you have felt rushed, it's probably because of that, wanting to do things differently, or wanting to somehow never feeling good enough, but wanting to. Being what kind of inspires you and is driving you forward right now. So not the easiest time period for you guys, but definitely a time for you to be led in directions that are quite interesting and unique, as long as you guide them to places that are also healthy. This will take you to good places. It could take you to worse places if you enable its ability to make you question your self-worth, or question your capability in terms of discourage your capability. If you just use this as motivation to encourage growth, expansion, and leveling up, this is actually quite a motivational time for you. Let's go on to Scorpio 3s. So if you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Scorpio, you guys are Scorpio 3s. You guys are the ones whose natal suns are going to be conjunct this new moon on the 13th. Especially if you're born around the 11th, 12th, or 13th. That's really going to be in tight conjunction with your natal sun, because it's happening at 20 degrees Scorpio, with Mars at 21 degrees Scorpio. So all week long, your natal suns are conjunct to the Sun-Mars conjunction. On the 13th, it's conjunct to the moon, the new moon, and you've been in opposition to Uranus. So there is major breakthroughs and changes in who you are and who you allow yourself to be, or how you allow yourself to be seen. major changes or revelations that come out, that happen now. There's a long-term sextile to Pluto that gives potency to everything. You will not come back from the actions that you take, but that implies also that you will move things along, that even though you may be a disruptive force, there is a progressive energy about you as well. The trine to Neptune is absolute ultimate creativity. It's alive. That supercharged discovery pinpoint. I just keep seeing lightning strike this week. And then we have that square to Saturn, which is, you are definitely challenging the norm. You're challenging the rules, laws, regulations, authority. You're challenging it all. You'll have all this power to start new things and to not conform. You'll have all this power to break free. And I think many of you are going to. This is a very powerful week for you. I love you guys. Remember to give this a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. Share it with people you know would enjoy it too. I love you guys, and I will see you in the videos. Okay, so now we have Libra. What's going on in the zodiac sign of Libra? We have Venus. So Venus is in her ruling domicile as well. Venus and Mars are both in their ruling domiciles. And they're extremely sexual when they are. This is very much partnership oriented when Venus is in Libra. And Mars is very sexual, root, primal, energy oriented when it's in Scorpio. So there can be a lot of, I think there's a lot of virility in the air. There's a lot of, in other words, procreative energy in the air right now for something to be maybe not birthed right now, but conceived right now. Venus is going to be moving between 4 and 11 degrees Libra, so it's primarily impacting those of you in the first decan of Libra in terms of the conjunction. And then we also have the South Node, still conjunct to the third decan Libras. It's at 24 degrees Libra now. So what's going on with Venus? It's in Libra, as we know. It is semi-square to the Sun conjunct Mars. It's semi-square to the new moon on the 13th. By the 15th, it's going to be in opposition, a loose opposition to Chiron. Now, whenever Venus is in opposition to Chiron, there is aching or hurting in terms of how beautiful you feel, how valuable you feel, how desirable you feel, what your value is. And it's giving you the opportunity to work through all those things and to balance those things out and find beauty in your scars, especially when Venus is in Libra and Chiron is in Aries. There's an energy of finding beauty in your scars and in your battle wounds. And that isn't something that diminishes you, but kind of elevates you. We have also a sextile between Venus and Mercury the whole week, which we talked about in the big stuff. Well, this is beautiful energy, especially for those of you who are conjunct to Venus right now. And we'll get into the decan soon. This is that sense of just people wanting to listen to you and wanting to hear you. And there's this balance and peace, almost gracefulness about this ability to be able to communicate and articulate so well that if you wanted to express anything, this is the week to express it, because this is the week where you will captivate people while you do it. Especially when it comes, I mean, like this could bring in money for you. Venus still rules money. This could bring in opportunities for you. This is really, really lovely, tangible, practical, but lovely energy for you guys. Venus is also quincunx to Jupiter. For most of this week, I think, but from the like. Yeah. For most of this week, for all of this week, Venus is quincunx to Jupiter. So what does that mean? That she wants to move forward. That there is this level of maybe overindulgence or decadence that's happening in her, or she's starting to feel the pangs from where she has overindulged and maybe tried to soothe herself in ways that she's now realizing are just causing her pain. Because Venus and Jupiter, when those two get together, they are very optimistic, but a little too much decadence, and that could be causing some irritation, or the lack of decadence could be causing frustration too. So it could be very much a frustrating energy that makes you realize your desires and realize what you value and maybe what you need to welcome into your life. So let's go into the decans. If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Libra, then your natal sun is in the first 10 degrees or decan of Libra. You guys are decan 1. So it's your natal suns that are conjunct to Venus. And pretty much all week, and the last day she goes into 11 degrees, which actually puts her, 10 or 11 degrees. So the last couple of days she goes into the second decan. But for most of this week, your natal suns are conjunct to Venus. They are sextile to Mercury. It is you guys who are really going to be blessed with being able to kind of speak something into existence, if you will, or really birth a new idea. Share your ideas, speak and be heard and be valued for your opinions. Your natal suns are semi-square to the sun conjunct Mars through the 15th. Your natal suns are semi-square to the new moon on the 13th. There's going to be a lot of agitation toward newness, right? That I think is finally going to dawn on you, and you'll have the ability to sort of stake your claim or say it or speak it or actually communicate it around that time, or it's going to be clear to you what you need to do, and then you'll be able to take the action afterward. Something that's just been growing inside of you, you're going to be able to, it's definitely communication, call, speak, talk. And your natal suns are also in a long-term quincunx to Jupiter, so anything that's kind of kept you like placating yourself or your desires or overindulging to not let you move forward, this is also going to act as an irritant as well right now. Just a sense of, I want to grow. I got to get out of this place that I'm in. And you will be able to launch yourself this week. You will. What about Libra 2s? So Libra 2s, I would say from the 16th, 17th on, your natal suns, especially if you're born around, so Libra 2s are, if you know your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Libra. This correlates to Libra birthdays that are, say, October 2nd through the 11th, because Libra 1s are the end of September. So that would be September 22nd through, say, maybe October 1st. But Libra 2s, you guys are, say, October, maybe 1st, 2nd, depends on the year really, but definitely October 2nd through the 11th. So especially if your natal suns are around, say, the 2nd or 3rd, you will be conjunct with Venus by the 16th of this week. What does that mean? A feeling of beauty, a feeling of confidence, a feeling of self-love, a feeling of radiance, and the ability to communicate it to the world and show it. There is a grace and an ease with your ability to speak, represent yourself, say something romantic, be flirtatious. This is really lovely energy for you this week. Your natal suns are in a long-term opposition to Chiron. And that could definitely affect how you feel about yourself. I think this would be the week when you start to see the beauty of your scars. And you start being able to communicate that and share that with others as well. So it could be a very, very healing week for you, as well as a very kind of romantic, flirtatious, sexy. It's playful, it's fun, it's on the up and up, but it's a sexy week for you, like feeling your oats again. Let's move on to Libra 3s. If you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Libra. You guys are Libra 3s. This correlates to birthdays between October 12th, say October 12th and the 22nd. Your natal suns are the ones conjunct the South Node, which is in opposition to the North Node. What does that mean? That there is a switch now, kind of a change in your behavior or your personality that has a lot to do with like starting to like things you never liked before, or relating more to the opposite of what used to really feel good to you or feel natural to you. You're kind of ready at this point to, or you're being encouraged to be more curious about the opposite ends of things. You are probably being agitated by them. They probably won't leave you alone. It's almost like this sense of, if you've never really wanted to be independent before, you're going to be forced over the next couple of months into situations where you have to be singular and independent to kind of shake you awake and make you realize there's another dynamic to yourself that you have to get in touch with. Then you also have that square to Pluto, which means, this is a turning point in your life. For the next couple of years, your natal suns will be square to Pluto. So, especially if you're at like 28 degrees Libra, so you're born right up on that Libra Scorpio cusp. Your natal suns will be square to Pluto for quite some time. So these are dynamic changes in your person. It's also a sense of not wanting to take crap anymore, being a little bit relentless or ruthless. Definitely try to be relentless, not ruthless, but seeing things more in black and white, seeing things more sort of in the extreme fashion, or going to extremes, or just not taking any shit and not having as much patience as you used to. This is to kind of shake you up and shake you out of your comfort zone and make you aware of the dynamics of yourself that you haven't given enough attention to. You let me know in the comments below how this energy is impacting you. I'd love to know. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and to share it with those people that you know would like it too. And if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, please make sure you do so right now. I love you guys, and I will talk to you next week and see you in the videos. Let's move on to Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, let's talk about what's going on in Sagittarius now, because we're starting to pick up the pace. More energies are coming into Sagittarius. We have Mercury in Sagittarius. It is moving between 2 and 12 degrees Sagittarius this week. That is quite a playful energy. It's quite a curious energy, getting information, talking, having conversations, expansion and growth through information, maybe through speaking foreign languages or whatever it is. It's like you will be more chatty and be more willing to chat now that Mercury is in and about your energies, especially if you are Sagittarius 1 into the beginning of Sagittarius 2 this week. Mercury is going to be conjunct your natal sun. We have Jupiter. What is going on with Jupiter? Well, not a lot. Jupiter is in Taurus now. It's retrograded because it's still in retrograde from 9 to 8 degrees Taurus. So it's going further back into the first decan of Taurus. It is quincunx to Venus all week long, and it is now semi-square to Neptune. So there is a lot of decadence and indulgence, or maybe hyperactivity when it comes to dreams, but it could be just what you need to make you realize you don't have what you want yet, and to start pushing you in the directions of your desires, as opposed to being complacent and settling into just what you've settled for. So sometimes discomfort is exactly what we need, is what I'm saying, to make us wake up and make the changes that need to be made. And that's exactly how Jupiter is empowering you and impacting you right now. So Sagittarius, if you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Sagittarius, you guys are Sagittarius 1s. This correlates to November Sagittarians, basically. November 22nd through, say, December 1st. Your natal suns are going to be conjunct to Mercury through the 17th. After that, it's going to move into the second decan of Sagittarius. But through the 17th, your natal suns are conjunct to Mercury. So in the beginning of this week, all of you will have that beautiful blessing of Mercury conjunct your sun. This gives you quite snappy brain, very witty, very clear, very good at communicating, confident communications, and confident at communications exchange. This is when a lot of good stuff can happen through communicating. We also have a long-term sextile to Pluto, which is going to make you have an impact, like it or not, very dynamic. People will listen to you. You have a semi-square to Saturn, which means you could be feeling repressed in some ways, or challenges with just basically paperwork, getting things done, the way the rules are made. It doesn't mean that things won't get done. It means it will irritate you until they do, but that could also lead to some great breakthroughs. We have quincunx to Jupiter this week, which is that little spur in the side that is saying, I want to grow beyond what I've settled for. And then we have that sextile to Venus. And that sextile to Venus with conjunct Mercury, oh my God, this is sexy talk. This is romantic talk. This is a great time to flirt. This is a great time to put yourself out there and just these are great. This is a great time for communication, and lovely thoughts, could even be very creative energy that starts to pour out of you, especially in written form. All in all, a week where you will want to move forward and not so much take risks, but react to your desires and let you realize, I deserve those desires. I'm going to go get them. Let's go on to Sagittarius 2s. So if you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Sagittarius, you guys are Sagittarius 2s. By the 18th, your natal suns, especially if you're born, so your correlating birthdays would be, say, around December 2nd through the 11th. That would be you guys, especially if you're born around the 2nd or the 3rd. By the 17th, your natal suns are going to be conjunct to Mercury. By the 18th, all of you will be in a loose conjunction to Mercury. That's just confidence, that's intellect, that's your brain being like right on board, and communications really being exceptional. You having a lot of confident communications. This is a great time to take a test or to have important conversations, because you will speak with authority and confidence. Your natal suns are in a long-term semi-square to Pluto, which means, yeah, you could really be a thorn in somebody's side, but it has powerful impact and it'll push doors open for you. That's for the rest of this year and into next year. We also have a trine to Chiron, which is healing from old hurts, pains, sufferings, challenges, being able to allow and enable healing from those things, as well as finding peace and harmony in incorporating who you've become after the hardships to a point where you feel good about that person. So overall, great opportunities, especially at the end of this week. In order, opportunities, but you have to open up the doors. Like, you have to have the conversations, send the emails, etc. Let's go on to Sagittarius 3s. So if you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Sagittarius, that's you guys, Sagittarius 3s. This correlates to birthdays between the 12th and the 22nd of December. Your natal suns are sextile to Saturn. So all in all, over the course of this year, since that's a year-long aspect, there's progress and growth when it comes to your job or your work. There is expansion there for you. We have square to Neptune, so things could be a little bit deceptive or distracting, but also very creative. Very, very creative, so don't doubt your creative capabilities. Your natal suns are trine to the south node, sextile to the north node. This means that there's an easement in where you come from in your past, a sort of comfort level that is actually helping to encourage you to start taking opportunities outside of your comfort zone, because you realize you can and that things are going to be okay. And then we have a square to Venus through the 13th, only through the 13th. That could be a bit tense. With a square to Venus, could be a bit tense when it comes to financial situations, some sort of challenges that you have to face. You can get through them. You can especially learn from them. and expand and grow once that learning has taken place. But there will be some headbutt inner challenges here in terms of finance or love and relationships and desires that come in and really kind of frustrate you in the beginning of the week. That will eventually dissipate though. So don't be too worried about that. But in terms of like where you want to aim, I would say later on in the week do stuff, because that square to Venus could really conflict with how desirable you feel or how good you feel, or it could just make you challenge your self-esteem a little bit. So maybe wait more toward the 15th, 16th, basically after this new moon, when you're really, really sure of what it is that you want, because there will be a lot of clarity around the new moon about the new direction that I really need to go. And so taking that pause and making sure that you're set up well for that would be good, would be the best course of action. That's my suggestion to you. I love you guys so much, and thank you for coming along on this journey with me. If you know somebody would love this energy or this video too, please send it to them, share it with them. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up before you click off. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I love you guys, and I will definitely see you in the videos. All right, so Capricorn. What's going on in the zodiac sign of Capricorn? Well, your natal sun, Pluto is still there, and it will be throughout the end of this year into next year, beginning of next year. And then even for a while next year, it'll retrograde back maybe to 29, maybe to 28 degrees. It is settling itself into Aquarius, but right now, Pluto is still at 28 degrees Capricorn, which means it is still conjunct to the natal suns of those of you, especially those of you born around the 21st or 22nd of January. So this is hugely impactful, especially how you see yourself. It will unravel your life in order to help you build it up completely new. This is not regenerative energy. This is metamorphic energy for you guys, really having a gravity to your energy and your person that you didn't even realize existed, but it's there, and people will be more intimidated by you. They will also take you more seriously. What's going on with your ruling dignitary? So what is going on with Saturn? Saturn is in Pisces. It's still pretty stationary, though it didn't go direct officially last week. It is still at 0 degrees Pisces, so it hasn't picked up much momentum yet. And I do stress that yet, because once Saturn comes back online, Papa's getting the belt out. You know what I'm trying to say? And right now, I think he's just ascertaining exactly who's going to get it. So, Saturn is at 0 degrees Pisces. It is square to Mercury through the 15th. So Saturn square Mercury is like almost feeling like oppressed in terms of what we can say, right? And or what we can learn, or not being able to learn or get the information that we need. There's some sort of restriction there about the information that's being passed, or information that we want to share. So this is quite the kerfuffle at the beginning of this week. We also have a sextile to Jupiter. Saturn sextile Jupiter does mean we can get anything done. So even though if in the beginning of the week communications are getting all fucked up, it will rectify itself. And then we have a semi-square to Chiron. Semi-square between Saturn and Chiron can give us this feeling of, when is this ever going to get better? You know, am I ever going to be good enough? Is anything ever enough? Or what, are the standards too high? This could be that week where we start to reassess, are the standards too high? And who's setting these standards? And are the standards created to really keep quality high, or to keep productivity low, to keep competition low? It's a good reassessment in this energy right now to kind of see the truth of situations. So just watch that you're not repressing yourself in some ways, because progress, not perfection, right, Capricorn? And this would especially make it difficult for you because you'd want perfection. And that's what I mean by standards being set so high, you don't get the lessons or the information that you need to be able to reach those standards. You got to make mistakes. right? So it's kind of like we need an open-mindedness now. So let's get into the 3 decans of Capricorn, shall we? If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Capricorn, you guys are Capricorn 1. This correlates to birthdays in December. So we have December 2nd through the 31st. That's pretty much your birthdays, the Christmas babies. Your natal suns are in a long-term, year-long sextile to Saturn. This is very progressive energy. So over the course of this year, there'll be a lot of opportunities in terms of your career. Yeah, absolutely. We also have a trine to Jupiter, and that's longer term too. So this is beautiful energy. It's Jupiter in retrograde. Jupiter is retrograded back now into the first decan of Taurus, but that gives us more opportunity. That gives us more, maybe we see things in a different way that we hadn't seen before, and we can expand and grow through that. There's optimism where once there wasn't. But we do have a square to Venus this week, which means that there can be some headbutting when it comes to your romantic relationships and or financial situations. Not the best time to go blowing your money, or definitely a good time to check your checkbook, or to check in terms of how do I feel? How desirable do I feel? Am I overcompensating by spending too much? Those things. Not a great time to do your hair. Not a good time to fix your aesthetic or the aesthetic of your environment. Not a good time to do those things this week. You also are, your natal suns are going to be semi-square to the new moon. So there is definitely this supercharged energy that is going to put a kind of a pebble in your shoe, a kind of pin, you know, this needle point, this sense of, hey, what's going on? Let me stimulate you. I gotta get you awake, and it will be agitating, but I do think it will be quite the awakening. So you let me know in the comments below, guys, how that's impacting you. Let's move on to Capricorn 2s. If you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Capricorn, that's you guys. This correlates to birthdays, and I'm estimating here, between January 1st and the 11th. Your natal suns are in a long-term square to Chiron and semi-square to Saturn. So there is agitation here. There is a feeling of, am I good enough? Can I do this? But every single time you say, whether I'm good enough or not, I am showing up. I am showing up, and if I fail, but I'll show up again tomorrow. That is the secret to major breakthroughs when it comes to your life, who you are, and how you feel about yourself over the next couple of months. I guarantee it. Let's move on to Capricorn 3s. If you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Capricorn, you guys are Capricorn 3s. This correlates to birthdays and mid-January. So anyone that's born between, say, January 12th and the 22nd, that would be you guys. Your natal suns are the ones conjunct to Pluto, especially if you're born around the 21st or 22nd. Your natal suns are the ones that are square the nodes. You are the ones going under, your life is undergoing metamorphic change. You will become somebody that you were not before and that you will not come back from. And if you guide this by keeping your standards high and your ethics firm, you will love the new life that you make for yourself. This is a real dynamic change, though. Your natal suns are also sextile to the Sun conjunct Mars, the big Sun-Mars conjunction by the 5th. The Sun conjunct Mars is all week long, but your natal suns are finally conjunct the Sun conjunct Mars by the 15th, finally sextile the Sun conjunct Mars by the 15th. Now, hold on a second. I'm going to go back on that. Yeah, your natal suns are sextile the Sun conjunct Mars all week long. All week long. And your natal suns are going to be sextile to the new moon on the 13th. So this is a beautiful breakthrough moment for you to assert your newness, assert your freshness, assert whatever it is you felt that you've had to repress or suppress, you won't anymore. You don't anymore. This is a great time to take action on a new beginning or a new start, whatever that newness looks like or is for you. You have a sextile to Neptune, which is long-term, beautiful creative energy coming out for you right now, by you. Beautiful energy that could lead to so much progress because you're innovating. Nobody's ever thought of these things before. And then we have that long-term trine to Uranus. So you guys are really, you and Aquarius ones are really, really, especially if you're on that Capricorn Aquarius cusp, you are at ground zero of the dynamic changes and breakthroughs that are going to be happening, taking place over the next 10 years. So you're not only changing your life, you're making dynamic changes to the world around you. Beautiful, powerful energy this week for you to kick off or bring to light, take action on something new. It's that sextile to Mars, a sun conjunct Mars. This is a powerful new moon for you. Whatever you kick off, you will devote yourself to. I think you will stick to, and I think it will surprise a whole hell of a lot of people. But it's definitely sort of reconstructing, at the very least, your reality. I love you guys so much, and thank you for coming along with me on this ride. Please feel free to leave your comments below. If you haven't yet, like this video and then share it with people you know are going to like it too. And if you're not subscribed yet, please do that now. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the videos. Aquarius. So what's going on in the zodiac sign of Aquarius for the week of November 12th to the 18th? Guys, nothing. Not much. Nothing big. And remember, we cover the big stuff here for these weekly readings. So no, nothing really big is going on in the zodiac sign of Aquarius. That doesn't mean that things aren't going to be impacting you though. So what's going on with your two ruling dignitaries? Now, Saturn is your traditional ruler, so we're going to go over that first. And then we're going to go over what's going on with Uranus. So Saturn is in Pisces at 0 degrees. It's going to stay pretty much at 0 degrees all week long. And it is square to Mercury through the 15th. So Saturn square Mercury is about being repressed, especially in terms of with words, either being repressed or oppressed with words or laws or rules or regulations, or feeling like you don't have a right to speak or talk. Think of oppression through words, but Saturn is also law, right? So, and laws are written down in words. So we could have some screwy kind of issues with the law and legal stuff as well through the 15th. That would definitely impact nations, global stuff. That would definitely, those kind of things would definitely come out. We also have Saturn sextile to Jupiter, which means everything is sort of bigger and more exaggerated. There's also need for expansion and pushes forward. Saturn sextile Jupiter is one of the most productive and, get it done kind of energies. It can really figure anything out. So especially with this square to Mercury, with the sextile to Jupiter, this could actually be a very productive time for us to really see, especially rules, laws, regulations, authority, what needs to change and how we can change and do things differently. And then we have Saturn in a semi-square to Chiron. Now, that's been around for a while. It will be around for a while more. This is pointing out the ways that we're not good enough. Now, that could make us feel not good enough. That could have a very personal effect, especially on you guys who would be personally impacted by Saturn. But it could also be pointing out sort of nationally or globally, something isn't right, something isn't good enough, and that's why we keep getting injured by it, or it keeps not working. And with that sextile to Jupiter and square to Mercury, this is the time to really dig down deep and see exactly what is stopping our progress, because Saturn doesn't have to stop progress. In fact, Saturn should encourage progress. It should encourage the maintenance of standards and value systems while making progress. And if something is impeding progress or impeding, things just aren't working right, it's because those standards have been manipulated and the values have been slacked off, right? So this is really the week where those issues could come up big time, including in your personal space. Like, where have I not maintained my standards? Where have rules and laws and regulations been created to actually suppress or keep something down instead of allowing it to flourish? Like, those kind of things could really come out now. Also, conflicts or just different run-ins with your father figure, authority figures in your life, and seeing where maybe once upon a time you thought they did everything right and they were perfect, or the traditions were traditions. You might now be seeing that those traditions don't actually have the value that you thought they did, but in fact they were actually keeping you from new things or greater things or better ways to do things. So let's go on to Uranus, Aquarius. We have Uranus in Taurus. It's moving, it's retrograde still, so between 21 and 20 degrees Taurus. Uranus is in opposition to the Sun, conjunction to Mars all week long. It is in opposition to the new moon on the 13th. And it is trine to the moon when it conjuncts Pluto on the 17th. So on the 17th, this could create major mood swings that even surprise you. This could also bring up emotions that you didn't realize you had for something. So there is that element of surprise and, oh, I'm behaving differently. I didn't even realize it. That kind of energy around the 17th. The new moon on the 13th is going to be quite extraordinary because Uranus is involved. It brings in that element of surprise and change and rebel against what we thought we were, especially considering that Mars is conjunct the Sun throughout it. So there is that sense of bringing in that new sense of self and having the power and the courage to be able to do it and create something new, since this new moon is also trine to Neptune. So we have a lot of changes in our reality, changes in our faith system, changes in our value systems that are coming up and are going to be sort of pointed out to us or come into focus around that new moon. I also said that on the 17th, when Uranus becomes trine to the moon conjunct Pluto, it could also mean shifts in our subconscious or how we understand our past. And everything seems to be doing that now. And everything sort of, especially with Saturn and Uranus, everything seems to be, oh, we can look at things a little bit differently that we thought we knew, we thought we had measured, we thought this is the rule. But it's almost like, think of hundreds of years ago when, I don't think it was Copernicus. Who was it? Galileo. Was it Galileo? Realized that, or no, Nicholas Copernicus realized that the sun was the center of our solar system. Now, the Catholic Church for centuries had kept it and said, no, definitely it's the earth. It has to be the earth because that means that we're special and everything revolves around us, and that's what God intended. So there was that sense of that was actually considered science. Like the brightest minds at the time just agreed with that and accepted it as the truth. But when Copernicus, who was a mathematician, just looked at it mathematically, he's like, no, but this really doesn't make sense. And remember, Uranus is math. So even though we hadn't discovered Uranus yet, I would like to see how Uranus was interacting with situations when Copernicus made his discoveries, because ultimately there is an objectivity that comes out between Uranus and Saturn, and when you actually challenge those energies and say, but does it really make sense? Because stuff isn't adding up, is it? Right? And so maybe we have to reassign our value systems in order to make them add up, because it's not adding up. And if you look at things objectively and clearly, and Uranus allows you to do that, you'll actually be really surprised with the truths you discover after you've realized you've done something for years that wasn't right and wasn't balanced. You just accepted it as a truth because that's the way that it was always done. There's going to be a lot of things coming up that make us question our actual reality or what we have faith in, because not just with Uranus and Saturn, but Neptune and Jupiter are semi-square to each other through May. So we're really going to start to reconstruct what we believe in and where we have been disillusioned and led astray simply because maybe one was an easier choice or that was where everybody else was going. So really interesting energy. Let's go on to the decans of Aquarius, shall we? So we know how things are impacting your natal sun. So Aquarius, if you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Aquarius, you guys are Aquarius ones. This is relevant to, usually correlates with January Aquarians. So if you're born between January 22nd and the 31st, this would be you guys. If you're born around the 22nd and 23rd, especially, your natal suns are conjunct to Pluto and square the nodes, and they'll be square to the nodes for a couple more months, but square to Pluto for a couple more years. Not square, conjunct to Pluto for a couple more years. So this marks a time in your life when things are changing dramatically, and you are changing dramatically. What you like, who you want to be around, you're going to notice a turning point in your life. Definitely over the next couple of months while you are squared, your natal suns are square to the nodes, but over the next couple of years, integrally shifting or almost like metamorphically into what you were meant to become or what you are becoming. Things that you'll never come back from, you don't pretty much won't want to. But that's long term. There's also a long-term sextile to Neptune if you are born January 22nd, 23rd. Once again, powerful and potent re-understandings of who you are and what your possibilities are and what your life could be. And then we have the square to Jupiter for the next couple of months. Square to Jupiter is going outside of the things that you're actually capable of doing, maybe thinking a little bit too big. It is very optimistic and it is very curious, which is wonderful energy, but it's also it's easy to get ahead of yourself with this energy. So it's really a good time for you over the next couple of months to sort of count to 10 and think about, what do I really want out of my life, and or am I really capable, or am I expecting too much too quickly? Because see, with a square to Jupiter, when your sun is square to Jupiter, it's easy to give up too quickly because you expected faster results too quickly. It's almost like you're way ahead of where your actual abilities or understandings are. So it's just like that's where you could miss opportunities with sun when your sun is square Jupiter. So over the next couple of months, slow yourself down, and if you expect instantaneous gratification, don't. Really make yourself think, does this matter to me? Am I really into this? Okay, then it doesn't matter if it takes time. Let it take time. We also have a trine to Venus through the 17th of this week. This is going to bring an air of grace and elegance, eloquence, and maybe even beauty to who you are. This is a beautiful time to get your nails did, get your hair done, paint the walls. This is when aesthetics will really work out really wonderfully for you, and you'll have a more natural appeal that is quite helpful. From the 17th through the 18th, so the end of this week, the moon conjunction to Pluto, so especially for those of you born on the cusp, January 22nd, 23rd, extreme emotions or powerful psychic shifts, you will feel them happening on the 17th, just so that you know. And then we have a sextile to Mercury through the 16th. So the trine with Venus through the 17th, the sextile to Mercury through the 16th. So through the beginning to mid of this week, this is a really eloquent time where you'll be able to express yourself well. Very flirtatious energy. Opportunities could open for you. Definitely a good time to make deals or express yourself because it will be interpreted well. This is a really helpful energy for you this week that could create productivity, especially through communications and how eloquently you will communicate your ideas, your intentions, your person, and how you will be gracefully received. So that's actually very helpful. Let's move on to Aquarius 2s. So Aquarius 2s, if you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Aquarius, that's you guys. This correlates to birthdays between February 1 and February 10th. We have Aquarius 1s, your natal suns are semi-square to Neptune, which means that you could be more easily manipulated or bamboozled, or it's just kind of irritating because you don't know what to believe. You might need some more time to just take your space and see, what do I really believe? There could be some frustration here, especially when it comes to your faith systems. And that is long term, so there could be some really good questioning that's going on over the next year or so for you guys. We also have a sextile to Chiron, which is encouraging you to make things better, make the world a better place, make it better for yourself and make it better for others, based on how you've suffered and what you've learned from your challenges. If you're born February 1st to the 3rd, your natal suns are square to Jupiter, so you got to watch out for the same thing I described up in Aquarius 1, this sense of getting ahead of yourself and being exacerbated, or not exacerbated, getting ahead of yourself and being disappointed too quickly because you think things are going to move really quickly, or that you'll have a bigger impact than you do. This could become quite discouraging. Slow yourself down and it won't be. This could open up a lot of opportunities if you could get it under control and just allow yourself to take time. It doesn't have to happen as quickly as you think it does, right? So really focus on what you care about and what you're willing to spend time with, and then you won't get those constant cycles of disappointment. We also have February 8th. Those of you born February 8th through 10th are square. Your natal suns are square to Uranus. So square to Uranus just means you're going to feel for the next year or so an extra agitation when it comes to your independence, and really want to become more independent or seen for who you are and not feel completely right in your normal space. This is kind of an awakening time when you feel you haven't gotten a chance to experience different things. It's kind of like a mini midlife crisis. This sense of midlife crisis really happens when your natal suns are in opposition to, or when Uranus is in opposition to your natal Uranus. But when your natal sun is in square to Uranus, you're going to get those impulses of, well, I want to try different stuff. Routine is going to irritate you a lot more. Allow it to be a way that opens your horizons and expands instead of causes a lot of chaos and trouble, because it can do that as well. And then we have this week through the 17th, by the 17th. So at the end of this week, your natal suns will sextile to Mercury. And I would say that your natal suns will also trine to Venus as well. So toward the end of this week, there is that very helpful energy of being able to communicate your ideas eloquently and successfully, and kind of like think really clearly and in beautiful terms. This is a great time toward the end of this week into the following week for beautification, for flirtatiousness, going out on dates, even with your significant other. This could be a very romantic period. And for those of you, February 8th to the 10th, who want to sort of try things that are outside of your box, this could be a great time to suggest it to your significant other, or find people who kind of are outside of that normal box that you would check. So this could be a very fun and playful week and a half for you as well. Let's move on to Aquarius 3. So Aquarius 3, if you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Aquarius, that's you guys. This correlates to birthdays between say February 11th through the 20th or through the 19th, around those times. Your natal suns are sextile to the north node and trine the south node. That means you are getting much more interested, or you're going to find yourself being way more interested in what was opposite from what used to make you comfortable. There is this sense of being open to new things, open to your discomfort zone, open to being more conscious and being more active and being more intentional. in your life and how you build your life, that will start to come to, that will start to be sort of an aura around you, if you will, over the next couple of months. This week could be tense for you because there's a lot of challenge, a lot of squares to your natal suns. So we have a square to Uranus, we have a square to Mercury through the 16th, we have a square to the new moon on the 13th, and we have a square to the sun conjunction to Mars. So, and we also have a quincunx to Venus. So I think that there's going to be a lot of awakening for you this week through frustration and challenge to what isn't actually working for you and what you have overvalued or overindulged in that really shouldn't have been getting that much of your attention. Allow the lessons to hit hard, but also be open to receiving them, and you could make vast improvements on your life through these realizations that will come to you this week. It will not be comfortable, but it can be very productive for you to understand what wasn't working and where you've misplaced your focus, your attention, your desires. All of those things will come up this week. And yeah, that will be challenging, and it could feel like an oh shit week for you. Definitely whenever there's a lot of squares that are hitting your natal sun, allow yourself some self-care time. Allow yourself some meditation time, and allow yourself some time to ground yourself, to process the lessons that are trying to be taught to you, so you don't feel like you're just being attacked. God is trying to teach you and trying to shake you awake to make you realize you have the ability to make changes and really impact your life in a very positive way if you become aware of the mistakes or what is clashing. So that's basically, it's a work week for you next week in a very personal way, because this is all squaring your natal sun. Especially around the new moon, you could be open to where you've become restricted, the new things that you want but don't feel like you are good enough for or should have access to. This square to Mercury through the 16th will make communications very frustrating. So things aren't going to move forward in the 3D world next week for you, but they can most certainly move forward in your internal world, your spiritual world, and your consciousness, so that you become aware next week of what needs to shift. FYI. All right, guys, I love you so much. And if you haven't yet, please remember to subscribe to this channel, and then share this with your friends if you think that they would get a lot out of it too. I hope they do. Give us a thumbs up before you log off, and I hope to see you in the videos. Okay, so we have Pisces. So let's go on Pisces. What is happening in the zodiac sign of Pisces? Well, we have Saturn and Neptune, same as we have had for months. Saturn is at 0 degrees Pisces, and Neptune is retrograding now officially between 25 to 24 degrees Pisces. So, but we have a lot of stuff interacting with them, so we're gonna go over this stuff. We're also gonna go over Neptune and Jupiter. So what is going on with Neptune and Jupiter? These are your ruling dignitaries, and your ruling dignitaries will really kind of spice up or flavor what's happening to them with what's happening to you, or what you're feeling, or how you're receiving the universe's vibrations. So Neptune is your modern ruler, and Jupiter is your traditional ruler. They are interacting in a very important way. They are semi-square to each other. That semi-square has been there for a couple of months, and it will continue to last through May of next year. What does this mean? It means that we are starting to question what we have faith in, and what we spiritually believe in, and what we have felt led astray by. This could make things very easy to get disillusioned, or get disillusioned by faith and faith systems itself. The trick here is to not get disillusioned to faith, but maybe question, what have I had faith in, and how is that not working for me? Or how am I maybe starting to wake up to the fact that I had faith in a half story, and if I knew the full story, I wouldn't have had faith in it to begin with. Neptune, there is always kind of a deceptiveness that can happen with these difficult relationships to Neptune. And so you could have been building your faith and spirituality on something that you weren't completely aware of the complete workings on. You know, this sense of believing maybe in spirituality or astrology before you realized how really mathematical it was, how practical it is, and how much work it takes to understand it. This sense of it could disillusion you when you realize the practical work that has to go into it. Those kind of things could actually be making you tempted to shift your faith. Only shift your faith if it's based on stuff that morally and ethically you can't get behind. If it's just about doing the hard work, then get it done. And then we also have Jupiter this week is in quincunx to Venus, which can mean that there's sort of pangs in your system from overindulging, or maybe feeling like you haven't indulged enough and need a little bit more decadence in your life. But those topics will be brought to your attention and cause agitation and frustration this week. We have Neptune as well. It's in Pisces. Jupiter is going to move between 9 and 8 degrees Taurus. It is still in Taurus. Then we have Neptune in Pisces. It's going to shift from 25 degrees to 24 degrees. Neptune is very active this week. It is trine the Sun conjunction to Mars all week long. It is going to be trine to this new moon on the 13th. It is going to be sextile to Jupiter. It is still in a very loose trine to Uranus. And on the 17th, it is sextile to the moon conjunction with Pluto. So on the 17th, this is very psychic energy. Very psychic, very creative, very powerfully spiritual and intuitive energy. That could be happening to you. I would really watch your dreams around that point. And if you're trying to get extra sleep, get it. Let your body rest and dreams will come. And they could be prophetic, just an FYI. But this whole energy this week is really about awakening to a broader sense of your own creativity, your own spirituality, what you believe in, what matters to you, what you feel in your soul is truth, as opposed to what you think with your head. So if you're more interested in spiritual topics this week, this is very much because Neptune is very active, trining and sextiling a lot of other energies to sort of explore and broaden and bring a balance and harmony into your belief systems, your faith systems, as well as your creative endeavors. A lot of creative energy, especially with that trine to the Sun conjunction to Mars. Like Mars takes action, the Sun is the creator, right? And Neptune is just imagination. So there could be a lot of beautiful inspiration or creative projects that you start, really putting forth this week. You could feel yourself spitting out creative ideas left and right, Pisces, especially Pisces 3, who are conjunct to Neptune. So let's break things down into the decans, shall we? Okay, I also wanted to say, so Saturn is going to be square to the Sun conjunct Mars by the end of this week. And Pisces ones, that means that they will be square to you guys by the end of this week. So by the end of this week, it's a loose square. But by the end of this week, there can be some tension, a feeling of restraint and restriction, or real rebellion, like wanting to break outside of the rules. There could also be some congestion or conflict that happens toward the end of this week with rules, laws, and authority figures, especially with your sense of vitality and your sense of your own person kind of clashing. Just that might impact you because your natal suns are conjunct to Saturn, and Saturn is experiencing that tension. So we have a conjunction to Saturn all week long, and then a sextile to Jupiter all week long. Trouble with faith or what you believe in. I put down, I think this is more about getting things done, and productivity is really what you can expect this week. There is a sense of seriousness about you and a willingness to grow and develop yourself that you should really take advantage of over the next couple of months. It won't be necessarily just this week, but over the next couple of months. And then we have this week a square to Mercury, so through the 16th of this week, and a quincunx to Venus through the 16th of this week. That could really slow you down with your ability to communicate and show yourself eloquently, or just with communications in general letting you down. There could be some frustration here, especially with financial issues or within your romantic or intimate partnerships. This sense of people misinterpreting each other's words, or your desires not being in sync. It can be a very frustrating and upsetting week for you. Then I would not try to apply for a mortgage this week or do anything financial or legal. There could be a lot of conflict around those things for you this week, and it's better to leave them until next week or after the 16th, when the square to Mars and the quincunx to Venus will dissipate. Let's move on to Pisces 2. So Pisces 2, this correlates to Pisceans whose natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Pisces. If you were born between, say, March 1st and the 11th, this would be you guys. So if you were born between March 1st to the 3rd, your natal suns are still sextile to Jupiter, even though Jupiter has retrograded back into the first decan of Taurus. It's still very, 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 very close to the cusp of the second decan. So your natal suns are still sextile to Jupiter. This will keep you optimistic and help keep you moving forward. If you're born between March 9th and 10th, and March 9th and 11th, so the end of the second decan, your natal suns are sextile to Uranus, which also correlates to expansion and growth and wanting to try things outside of your norm, being curious, and really feeling your own oats in terms of your own independence. Those are longer term sextiles, so they will last for at least the next couple of months. Or at least the next month, I should say. And then we have a square to Mercury after the 17th. So really after the 17th up to the 16th, I would say 16th, 17th, 18th this week. Try to get important stuff done or signed before that time, because then Mercury and all those communication clashes will start to hinder your progress for the next week. And then the quincunx to Venus starts around the 17th as well. So there might be some tension or frustration when it comes to talking to each other, your personal relationships. Those kind of things could really start to clash. Not the best time to go out on dates toward the end of this week or work on your aesthetics. Definitely try to do all those things prior. And if you're dealing with legal issues or important paperwork with regards to financials, could be a new lease, could be a mortgage, do it before the 16th, because the 16th to the end of this week into next week, there's going to be a lot of challenges around those things, FYI. Your speech and your thinking processes won't be as quick or elegant around that time. So not the best time to take tests or try to communicate something that's really important to you. You kind of stumble over your own words. And then let's move on to Pisces 3. So Pisces 3. So if your natal suns are between 20 and 29 degrees Pisces, this is you guys. This correlates to birthdays that are, say, March 11th or 12th through the 22nd. That would be you guys, March 12th through the 22nd. Your natal suns are the ones that are conjunct to Neptune. They're also semi-square to Jupiter. It's going to be you guys that it's really hitting for the next couple of months. What do I believe in? What do I think? Like, has what I've always believed in, is it shit? Questioning your faith systems. Watch out for disappointment or disruptions in your faith. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. You guys could easily be led astray. Feeling very vulnerable, questioning what you have faith in. You could easily be led astray by somebody who's trying to or suggests that they can solve problems for you quickly. So watch these behaviors over the next couple of months through May. Definitely allow yourself to explore different faith systems, but don't be bamboozled into things like cults or to giving up money when you don't really understand things. The purpose of this semi-square between Neptune and Jupiter is to see what you really believe in, and if what you've believed in is actual quality. And so it is definitely a time for learning and digging deep and not being afraid to do so. But trying to jump to something that makes you satisfied and happy too quickly could really get you taken advantage of. FYI. Then we have, yes, for those of you who are asking, not just in areas of your life regarding your faith system or your religion, but in everything, your career, your relationships, just take a step back and think, do I have faith in it because I want it to be so or because it is so? That's really important. That's an important question for you guys to be asking yourselves for the next, throughout May of next year. We also have a long-term sextile to Uranus and sextile to Pluto, which makes you ground zero for ground-breaking ideas and earth-changing or humanity-changing concepts. So ask a Pisces 3. They're going to have insights into those things. They're going to have insights into the shifts and changes and the way we are shifting and changing. Yeah, for you guys personally, you're going to surprise yourself a lot. You're going to surprise yourself in the directions that you're changing, and you might go a little too extreme with your eccentricities over the next year. Just an FYI. We also have, for this week, a trine to the Sun conjunction to Mars, which will offer a lot of creative beauty. The ability to really think of things, like spit out ideas one after the other and make them be quality, or become really, really perceptive of talents and skills that you may not have known that you had before. This could be quite an awakening time for you. You are trine to the new moon on the 13th, so it's a magical time for you. Please manifest. Do your manifestation work. It is asking for newness and a new sense of what you can do and what you can create. Allow those ideas in. It's a really broad and expansive, fresh start for you. And then we also have on the 17th, you guys will be sextile to the moon conjunction to Pluto, which could bring up a lot more creativity and a lot more psychic intuition that really makes people believe you, and you be extra perceptive and really be able to have a lot more compassion and insight into, let's put it this way, you'll just have this energy about you that people will believe your perceptions. They will kind of trust you more. You'll feel more comfortable to them. You'll be able to connect with them on a level that doesn't necessarily make any sense. So this day is a quite psychically dominant and powerful day for you. Just an FYI. You let me know, guys, in the comments below how you're experiencing this energy. And then definitely subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and give this a thumbs up, this video a thumbs up. Share it with people that you think would be interested too, guys, and I will see you in the videos. All right. So Aries, if you know that your natal, okay, so I'm sorry, I'm just rattling all this off. Aries, what is going on in the zodiac sign of Aries? So same thing that's been going on for a while. Nothing really new for the past couple of months. We have Chiron now at 16 degrees Aries. So it's far deeper into the second decan of Aries. And then we have the North Node at 24 degrees Aries. So there is a lot of kind of sort of personal responsibility that's going on in Aries now. Self-actualization and realization, because you kind of understood where you've come from and what you've been through, and now you know what to do with it. Lots of those themes going on for Aries right now. What's going on with Mars? So Mars is your ruling dignitary. It's always important to know it will kind of, whatever's happening to it will flavor or spice up your life. So Mars is conjunct the Sun all week long. And this is going to give it a level of certainty and conviction and confidence and courage that it normally does not have. It is far more willing to take risks under this energy, for better or worse. Mars will move between 21 and 26 degrees Scorpio. It is very confident with itself, very virile, very primal, and very much in control of its own energy and really liking to be in control while it's in Scorpio. So Mars is conjunct this new moon on the 13th. That is a real get-her-done, realistic, and sort of power-packed energy of I will have a new start. It is in opposition to Uranus all week long. It is an insistence upon newness, freshness, not having the same old, same old. So it could really break apart anything that has lasted too long and started to bore the shit out of you. That's when you will demand something new. Mars is also trying to Neptune all week long. This is very spiritual energy, also very rhythmic energy. It could really start making you express yourself creatively with music or dance, getting into your body, like that, those areas where your body meets music. That is, or even just at the gym, turning on your favorite tunes or finding new tunes. With the opposition to Uranus, finding new music that really inspires you or turns your juices on. You might need that this week. And then we have a square to Saturn starting on the 17th, and the sextile to Pluto starting on the 15th. So toward the end of this week, there can be powerful confrontations with regards to change and insisting upon change, even though you may find yourself or feel a little bit repressed or suppressed. There is that energy of that will make you demand a difference even more. And authority figures, there could definitely be clashes with rules, laws, regulations. Not to say that you're getting arrested, but just that they don't work for you anymore. And you're starting to see where reconstruction needs to happen, especially at the cornerstones of your life. So, Aries. Let's go into the decans. If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Aries, you guys are Aries 1. This correlates to birthdays between, it's basically March Aries, March 22nd through, the 31st. Your natal suns are in opposition to Venus through the 16th. So this is going to bring up clashes with finances and your romantic relationships. This could also bring up clashes, definitely, especially since Libra is in, since Venus is in Libra. There could be a lot of clashes with regards to your intimate partnerships or just your need. How much do I need to be connected to somebody else? That kind of energy. You also have a sextile to Pluto if you're at the cusp between Aries and Pisces. So that sextile to Pluto is going to give an extra power and gravity to your conviction and your person. People will actually take you a lot more seriously over the next year because of that sextile to Pluto, which could really help you open doors for yourself. And then you have this week through the 16th, a trine to Mercury. So you have a trine to Mercury, but in opposition to Venus. So it's a good time to discuss different issues that are at play. And at least you will be able to figure them out or get the intel, learn, understand. This opposition to Venus is when you kind of things start to not feel right in terms of how you look, in terms of what's going on with your desires or with your finances. But I like that trine to Mercury could give you a lot of insight while that's happening. So this could be a very revelation kind of week for you where you realize, oh, these are the things that haven't been working. Or I should communicate them and ask for help, and that could actually help to fix some of this stuff that's causing tension. That's a good week for this. It could also be that in some ways, your awkwardness might get you far this week. like not having everything right or not being extra graceful, that kind of thing, that sense of maybe even being able to communicate your lack of self-esteem or your lack of confidence in yourself, that sense of being able to really work that out. It could be a good week for some of you for talk therapy, FYI. Let's go on to Aries 2. So if you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Aries, you guys are Aries 2. This correlates to April 1st through like the 11th birthdays. So in and around there. Your natal suns are semi-square to Saturn, which means just long-term obligations could be really irritating you right now. Rules, authority figures could be just kind of feel like a pebble in your shoe right now. We have your natal suns are conjunct to Chiron with that semi-square to Saturn. This is where maybe your low self-esteem is coming from if you've been experiencing it lately, if you've been questioning yourself more, questioning whether or not you're good enough for things or that you will ever feel good enough for something. All of those things could be coming up right now because of those long-term aspects. They will fade by, say, March of next year, especially that semi-square to Saturn will fade by March of next year. But this is going to bring up a lot of insecurities in yourself for you to realize them. And what can I learn from them? And how can I grow? And how can I improve myself and make myself better? We also have, by the 17th, an opposition to Venus starting. So this could really start to impact how, if you start to feel, especially toward the end of this week, that you're not pretty enough, that nobody likes you, or you start to really feel those energies, it's because of the energy this week, especially once that opposition to Venus forms. And that could create tension in terms of the money that you spend or the money that you can't spend. You know, it'll have a much heavier impact on you. You'll take it more personally. Issues with your relationships, you'll take it more personally. So ultimately, let it be a self-care week. Not a good time to change your hair or anything like that, but give yourself longer, just whatever makes you feel more loved, right? This sense of, I don't care if it's a bath or I don't care if it's working out harder. You might be extra hard on yourself though this week because you're like, I have to work out harder, I'm getting too fat. Like those things may start to creep into your head a lot more, and just be aware of that so that you don't take it so personally it actually really starts to disrupt your life or impact your mood permanently. This is not permanence. This is just a challenging week. You also have the trine to Mercury all week long. So this is actually going to help you communicate your experiences and what you're going through. This could be, I'm sorry. I apologize, guys. This could be a wonderful time for learning and growing and having conversations, especially to discuss any insecurities that creep up toward the end of this week. Yeah, good time to do paperwork, important paperwork, take tests. Good time, even though you may not feel like you're good enough because of all those other conflicts, you will be able to communicate in a wonderful way next week. And that is really helpful energy for you. Then we have, let's go on to Aries 3s. So Aries 3s, if you know your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Aries, you guys are Aries 3s. I apologize. You guys are Aries 3s. This correlates to Aries birthdays between, say, April 12th and the 22nd. Your natal suns are conjunct the North Node. So 100% you are trying to take more action when it comes to conscious action in your life. The sense of taking control of your life and building it out of your reality and your consciousness instead of what you're just letting things happen to you. So this is a sense of realizing suddenly that the way you've always accepted things are not the way things have to be. And so you'll start to push and make changes to your life over the next couple of months that will challenge in a lot of ways your South Node. What you accepted was just always there, always supposed to be. Maybe challenging the concept, do I need a partner at all? You know, or if I do, maybe I don't need one, maybe I should want one, and become much more selective on who I choose as my partner, right? This is really focused on self and singularity and being a lot more individualistic. Your natal suns are also square to Pluto. So square to Pluto, guys, is an intense energy that can make you both relentless, which is good, and ruthless, which is bad. You'll see things much more black and white over the next year, and you won't take as much shit. This could help you and hurt you. So it's always best to focus on this energy with, am I being relentless or am I being ruthless? Am I willing to take people down and cut people down, which I will have full capacity to do, but it'll also build up really bad dharma for me. So ultimately, being relentless and not taking no for an answer, that's good if you don't take it to the extreme of doing whatever you got to do to get what you want, right? There are still like really screw your ethics and your morals to the sticking place. You're going to have to remind yourself to not wield your power in a bad way over the next year. That's kind of what I'm saying to you. This week, your natal suns are quincunx to the sun conjunction to Mars. The sun conjunction to Mars is a powerful energy of self-realization or actualization and wanting to take action. Like, I've finally seen the light, a lot of conviction, maybe even stubbornness, since they're both in Scorpio, right? So this quincunx to them may mean you may be really butting heads, or people are starting to agitate you with their sense of self. Like, you may be coming up against really strong personalities, or your personality may be really strong this week, and it'll irritate a lot of people. So that's why there are more challenges than breakthroughs this week. So dialing it back a little bit might be helpful for you. Listen more than you speak, right? Duck and weave more than you punch, because your punches will land and your words will have impact. And you want to be sure that you use it in the right places. There's also, on the 13th, a new moon in Scorpio, which your natal suns will be quincunx to. So this could just really spur you in the side and cause a lot of agitation to make you realize, I want something new. And this is a great revelation, but also a challenging time, because it'll irritate you, right? There'll be irritation there, but at least you'll start to see, I want to start something new. I want to be someone new. I want to be seen in a different way. Those kind of energies, write them down, take stock. Don't let them irritate you as much as educate you, right? And bring something into consciousness that you can work on. So you let me know, Aries, how all this energy has been impacting you this week. If this was accurate at all, give it a thumbs up and definitely share it with people that you know would like it or get a lot of hope from it. And then be sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so. Okay, guys, I'll see you in the videos. All right, Taurus. So Taurus. What's going on in the zodiac sign of Taurus? Still a lot. We have Jupiter that is going to be retrograding from 9 to 8 degrees Taurus, and then we have Uranus that's going to be retrograding from 21 to 20 degrees Taurus. There's about a 10-degree difference between them. It's really interesting, 10 to 12 degrees. They're kind of dancing in that, do we want to be aspected, but we're not aspected kind of energy. Once they come out of retrograde, they will eventually catch up to each other next year. I believe it's next year, because Jupiter does move faster than Uranus. So, FYI. Anyway, what did I want to say? Taurus ones, you're getting Jupiter back, but it's Jupiter in retrograde. So what does that mean? Well, there's opportunities that are opening up. There's expansion, there's growth, but it won't play out really until Jupiter starts going direct in January. And then you may see some luck that starts to happen at that point. And you might have already forgotten about it, but ultimately that's when you'll start to sort of see it start to pop out. For those of you who are in Taurus 3s, very early on Taurus 3s, so that would be, say, maybe the 12th or 13th of May. Yeah, of May. your natal suns are conjunct to Uranus. So there's this level of realization of, I want independence. You just might not know what you want yet until Uranus. It's almost like an inward journey of you're starting to discover oddities or weird things about yourself that you're starting to get more comfortable with, that will come out once Uranus goes retrograde, goes direct, I think in January. FYI. Let's talk about Venus. What's going on with your ruling dignitary? Because she flavors everything that you do, whether you realize it or not. So Venus is in Libra, and she's going to move between 4 and 11 degrees Libra this week. She's also sextile to Mercury all week long. She's also quincunx to Saturn and quincunx to Jupiter. So she is kind of spicy this week and really not taking any guff. And in those ways that she has felt repressed or unable to expand, she will really be able to speak it and communicate it. So there is that energy of taking action through words and through ideas this week. Eloquence in speech, happy words, flirtatious, fun, playful, may get under people's skin, may get under your own skin, may point out those ways that you have realized, oh, I'm not doing enough, right? That kind of sense of how can I do more, or how can I have a greater impact? Let's talk about the decans. If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Taurus, you guys are Taurus 1. That correlates to Tauruses born in April, so April 22nd through May 1st. That would be you guys. Your natal suns are the ones conjunct to Jupiter, which brings almost a big-headedness, that sense of, as soon as I walk into the room, everybody loves me. It's very optimistic. You are an eternal optimist, or there's not an eternal optimism that's happening, but during this conjunction, for the next couple of months, optimism is easy for you, but you could also expect it to get you too far. So just watch out. Keep the optimism. Don't let it spill over into entitlement. Your natal suns are also semi-square to Neptune. So there can be a lot of disillusionment when it comes to what you've had faith in. Your spirituality itself or faith itself. Also this sense of, it can make you a little bit more vulnerable to opening yourself up to things that are only halfway proven, or that you don't know enough about to really dedicate yourself to them, but you might want to throw yourself into them. Watch what kind of relationships you make with spirituality or spiritual leaders especially, and definitely test the waters and use this as a learning period. It's going to be really impacting you through May of next year. So questioning your faith or being disillusioned by things that you have had faith in will creep up over the next couple of months. Your natal suns are sextile to Saturn through March of next year, which means this whole year there's going to be expansion in career. Even if you've had dips and bad luck, they will always come back to productivity and you being able to really move ahead, especially in terms of your profession this year. We have a quincunx to Mercury through the 17th, and we have a quincunx to Venus as well. What does this mean? Agitation, irritation, trying to spur you forward, things that you hear, things that you learn, the way things look good to you, or basically even just tripping over your own words can really start to frustrate you and point out what you don't know, right? This could also be kind of a silly energy where you will not be graceful. You will trip all over your own feet, and you could be finding yourself stumbling over your own words and your own ideas more this week. It is not the best week to sign important paperwork or apply for a mortgage or a new lease. I would leave that to next week, because any financial information could be just, you could find a lot of agitation and irritation. It doesn't mean that it won't come through. It'll just take more steps than you expected it to. So it's better to initiate those things on a week where that's actually not impacting you. Just wait till next week. Let's move on to Taurus 2s. So if you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Taurus, this is you guys. If your birthdays are between May 1st and the 3rd, your natal suns are still conjunct to Jupiter. If your natal suns are between if your birthdays are between the 9th and 11th, your natal suns are still conjunct to Uranus. This will definitely impact you guys in terms of, it's very expansive energy, right? It's very outside of the box. Jupiter's more kind of optimistic. I want to try things. Maybe I think I'm better at things than I am. And then Uranus conjunct the sun is maybe I think I'm more clever than I am. Or maybe I want to be more unique than I'm, like I want to explore different facets of myself that I haven't explored before. My own eccentricities. This could be a great time for both of those groups to expand themselves and to really get a new idea of their capabilities. There is a semi-square to Neptune as well. No, there is not. That is not going to be semi-square to you guys. If you're born between the 9th and the 11th, your natal suns are in opposition to the new moon on the 13th. So this is going to prove to be a very powerful time for you and all of Taurus 3s, because it is going to point out those aspects where you didn't feel like you were able to actually express yourself or be seen for who you really are. Can be very frustrating, but also push you toward. It's almost like you're going to demand people see you for who you really are. That kind of energy, or demand a fresh new start. The sun conjunction to Mars. Oh, I understand. This is only for those of you born between May 9th through the 11th as well. Your natal suns will also be in opposition to the sun conjunct Mars through the 14th. So basically at the beginning of this week, your natal suns, only if you're born 9th through the 11th, are going to be in opposition to the sun conjunction to Mars and the new moon. So this is really a highly stimulated time for you to become something different than you are, or have somebody see you in a way that is different than normal. You'll experience a lot of frustration when it comes to routine, and you will not want to be routine during this time period. And so, I mean, let it be, see where it takes you, but watch out for taking too many risks, because any opposition to Mars could lead to actual physical injury. So you may be like more prone to drive too fast on the road. You may be more prone to, I can run a red light. Watch out, because with an opposition to Mars in any way, there could be more inclination toward injury. So definitely allow it to open you to an awareness of where you're frustrated and where you have felt repressed, but don't let it push you to the point where it takes over and it starts to drive, because accidents happen when that kind of energy starts to drive. FYI. Listen up. Taurus 3s, that goes for all of you all week long. Not just up to the 14th, all week long, because your natal suns are in opposition to the sun conjunct Mars all week long. And your natal suns are conjunct to Uranus long term. So there is that energy of watch how this pushes you, the risks that it makes you take, because it could cause permanent damage. It's definitely a time to realize where you want to change or where you need change in your life. That level of consciousness is very positive, but to let it make you take risks that could injure you, or things that are important to you, or people that are important to you, that's taking it too far. Be conscious of the energy. You are absolutely capable of being conscious of this energy. It doesn't have to dominate you, but you will feel so much more impulsive, especially with regards to where you get bored and where things have become too routine. That'll become very evident to you this week. We also have an opposition. You guys will be in opposition to the new moon on the 13th. It'll really show you very clearly where you need a new, fresh start in your life. Then you have this long-term sextile to Neptune and trine to Pluto, which is over the next couple of years really going to dynamically impact or change everything about your world, who you are externally, who you want to be, what you believe in. This is a very creative time, but since it's all in relation to your natal sun, it's you recreating you in new terms, under new identities, in a new version of yourself. It's quite expansive and beautiful energy. You guys let me know how it's impacting you, how you've experienced this stuff so far, especially the longer term aspects. And I hope you love and somehow really become illuminated on that new moon. In darkness, sometimes that's exactly when the light goes on, you know, and the new moon is the dark moon. So we'll be able to really understand ourselves better, or where we haven't been really being true to ourselves. Those places will really start to agitate us this week. Taurus, if you haven't yet, please remember to like this video and subscribe to this channel so that we grow over here. If you've liked this video, share it. Let other people know. I do this every week. And I love you guys. I'll see you in the videos. Bye. Gemini. Now, what's going on in the zodiac sign of Gemini for the week of November 12th through the 18th? Nothing. It's pretty much a dead zone, but stuff is going on with Mercury, so we're going to discuss it. Mercury is going to be moving through Sagittarius from 3 degrees Sagittarius through 12 degrees Sagittarius. It is square to Saturn through the 13th, so the first couple of days of this week. Square to Saturn with Mercury is information being held back, or the feeling of not being able to speak your mind or say what you need to say. There could be conflicts that come with being able to get information across, or feeling in some ways that you're blocked. You're blocked from doing the procedures, that anything that has to do with law, legalities, regulations, that can get really clogged up and backed up for the first couple of days of this week. It can also be being too serious, or expecting things to be like so accurate it's intentionally, not that things shouldn't be accurate, but so almost draconian way of communicating or doing things. So there's a lot of that tension that's happening right now between Mercury and Saturn. It will only last through the 13th. All week long, Mercury is going to be sextile to Venus. This creates a beautiful elegance of speech as well as flirtatiousness. So even though in the first couple of days you may feel restricted or held back, or somehow just the information isn't there, there is a level of playfulness and even optimism when it comes to your ideas or your thoughts. It could be a lot more creative right now in this energy. And definitely throughout the week, it's going to be, I don't know, leading to a more flirtatious kind of optimistic energy that comes through. It's a very helpful energy for you guys this week. Now, on the 16th, so at the end of this week, Mercury will trine to Chiron. So that trine to Chiron will make you acutely aware of the way things are getting better, or give you the opportunity to, or open up opportunities for healing, especially through talking to somebody. Talk therapy could be good here very much, or simply just being able to resolve how criticisms from the past may have made you feel. Then we have, by the 16th, Mercury also semi-square to Pluto, which is your brain being more investigative, like diving deep. You'll feel like toward the end of the week you want to probe deeper, and even maybe have deeper conversations. Conversations will get deeper whether you want them to or not, and they could end up irritating you, or it could end up irritating you that you have to dig so deep to find some stuff out, that whatever is useful to you. But it just makes Mercury have the energy of a greater depth, right? That's what it is. It's this little like almost pebble in your shoe, a constant nagging of sorts when it comes to the way people speak to you, or the way you feel like in some ways you can't just have a shallow conversation. You may feel like you not owe it to somebody, but you may find your mind going deeper than you want it to more often. That'll just last a couple of days as well. So let's get into the decans, the 3 decans of Gemini. If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Gemini, you guys are Gemini 1s. This correlates to birthdays between, this is like May Gemini, say May 22nd through May, what is it, 31st. We have a sextile to Neptune, which is long term. This is actually very creative energy. So over the next couple of years, if your brain is thinking more outside the box and you want to do more creative things, this is why. We also have a square to Saturn up through March, which means that restrictiveness, especially when Mercury goes and is square to Saturn at the beginning of this week, you may really feel repressed in some ways, or like you just can't get things done, or information just isn't getting through, or people aren't listening to you, or people are putting pressure on you to not be yourself or say what you need to say. That's especially difficult or challenging through the beginning of this week, though that will dissipate. Cusps only, so only if you're born around May 22nd, May 23rd, your natal suns are trine to Pluto. This gives you an intensity of character that actually helps your situation, or helps to make you feel easier going deeper and being more intense. We also, that's long term. But this week in particular, your natal suns are trine to Venus through the 16th and in opposition to Mercury through the 16th. So trine to Venus is just kind of beauty and grace and attractiveness. This is a great time to kind of redo your hair if you were thinking of it, or go get some new clothes, or repaint the walls of your house. There will be almost like a harmony that can be set in these ways. There could also be some harmonious aspects, harmonious things happening with regards to finances through the 16th. But the opposition to Mercury can be quite clunky, especially in the first couple of days. So for you, the first couple of days this week can be quite clunky when it comes to communications or rules, laws, regulations, either making things more confusing, getting in your way, or restricting you. The opposition to Mercury can kind of just make you feel hyper stimulated when it comes to your thought processes and communication. Maybe so much coming in, but none of it really making any sense. So that could be quite a frustrating situation for you this week. This week, because of the tense aspects to Mercury, I would not try to have any important conversations or sign any important paperwork. If you can, I would definitely try to put that off till either late in the week toward the 18th, or into next week. Just an FYI. Let's go on to Gemini 2. If you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Gemini, that's you guys. This correlates to Gemini birthdays between June 1st and the 11th. By the 16th, your natal suns will be in opposition to Mercury. That could cause some tension when it comes to your communications, or the communications that you're expecting to have. It's hyper stimulated, so you can feel like you maybe have more to say than you have words for. That can also cause sort of a more mistakes to happen when you speak. It can also cause information to not come into you that you may need. So toward the end of the week into next week, this would be when you guys would really not want to schedule any important conversations or sign any important communications. Just an FYI. If you're going to do anything, get it done in the beginning of the week. We also have a trine to Venus, though, starting on the 17th. So starting at the end of this week, there could be more romance that's coming into your life. There could be an easement when it comes to finances. There could be some harmony or that's struck. that's actually very beautiful energy. So there's going to be some interesting information, intel, or movement that's made toward the end of the week, maybe especially toward finances. If it doesn't solve your problems, it can help especially make them more clear for you. Or if it's not financial, it's other things that you desire. This sense of knowing what you want, but not necessarily knowing how to communicate it that well. So there is a little bit of a, tension there. All week long and for the next year, your natal suns are sextile to Chiron. This is inspiration and motivation that comes from the tough times that you've suffered through, not wanting to suffer them again, having learned from them and wanting or being motivated to do something about them, change your world, change the world, and maybe even help others because of the challenges that you have been through. But like I said, that's long term. Really, if you want to get things done very, very well and smoothly, I would say do it at the beginning of the week when it comes before that opposition to Mercury sets on your natal sun at the end of the week. Let's move on to Gemini 3s. So if you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Gemini, you guys are Gemini 3s. This correlates to Gemini birthdays between the 12th and the 22nd of June. Your natal suns are trine the south node and sextile to the north node. What does this mean? There is an easement from your past. There is a sense of being really cozy or really comfortable even in partnerships that enable you to start taking that kind of motivate you to start taking more initiative toward being more independent. So this can signal either a really strong or harmonious understanding of what relationships are supposed to be, the relationship between your relationship and your independence, or simply that you're finding yourself a lot more curious about things that you used to think you didn't like at all, and you're finding that there are actual opportunities that are coming by taking more initiative in your own life. This is a turning point in your life, and it's actually really, really nice for you right now. It's actually opening up opportunities. Over the next couple of months, you have your natal suns are in a long-term square to Neptune and trine to Saturn. This is very creative energy that can help propel you forward and discover different things that you can be good at or advance your career by being more creative. That square to Neptune is really creative energy. It's best to be used creatively. It can be to the point of distraction, but with that trine to Saturn there, at least up through March, there is also something that grounds you and helps you really put the focus and the discipline to your creativity. So Gemini, that might be something that you really want to prioritize over the next couple of months. And then we have this week a quincunx to the Sun conjunct Mars. Now, quincunx isn't a major aspect, but because it's the Sun conjunction to Mars, that's really potent energy, and your suns are quincunxed. I did want to talk to you about it a little bit. This is hyper stimulating, hyper motivation, and can cause you to be somewhat more forward or more risk taking. That's something that you want to be conscious of because it can lead to a greater impact, but also maybe greater injury. So yes, you will feel stimulated and motivated to move and have maybe higher energy this week, but there's also that sense of, I gotta get things done, I gotta rush, and that you want to try to avoid because that could that could cause problems for you. We also have that quincunx to the new moon that happens on the 13th, so on Monday. What does that mean? There's almost a sense of, I've got to get this done. I need this new start. I want it now, right? This rush toward it. And honestly, you're going to have to sort of screw your faith to its sticking place and realize that the answers will become obvious to you over time. This could also mean stimulus to kick you into gear, in which case that's actually really good as long as you're not No, I won't say that's actually really good. I would say as long as you're not taking risks with your body, right? There can be a greater risk of injury when your natal suns are in a challenging position to Mars. I just feel that this is hyperstimulation to initiate something new. And if it's been important to you and you've wanted to get this initiated for a while, I would say go for it, because it's almost like the universe is like spurring you in the side and saying, okay, you got to get this done, right? Maybe it's been too long. Maybe you haven't taken enough time on it. So certainly up to you, but you'll feel a lot of stimulation to initiate, start something, do something, or why haven't I gotten this done already? In the beginning of the week especially. Let me know in the comments below if any of this resonates with you. I hope it does. Please give it a big old thumbs up, Gemini, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that we can grow over here. I will see you guys in the videos. Okay, so Cancer, what is going on in the zodiac sign of Cancer between the 12th and the 18th of 2023? Nothing. There's nothing major that's in the zodiac sign of Cancer. Though a lot is happening with the moon, because we do have a new moon this week. Let's go through it. So the moon is moving between Scorpio and Aquarius this week. On the 12th, so today, the moon will oppose Jupiter. This can be when we kind of take things like we exaggerate our emotions, or we find that our emotions are exaggerated. Like it's almost too big for us, too hype for us, or that we become too optimistic and we will be too easy to disappoint. Just an FYI. On the 13th is when this new moon in Scorpio happens. Of course, when the moon is in Scorpio, it's at a fall position. It feels repressed. It feels like almost emotionally constipated, if you will. But the fact that it's going to be conjunct to Mars and in opposition to Uranus, as well as trine to Neptune and semi-square to Venus, this is ridiculous ridiculous energy that is going to make you feel hyper-stimulated, could even be too stimulated. This sense of, I need to act now, I need to do something. Surprising emotions can absolutely come up, as well as surprising interests that really kind of matter to you, or you want to take the initiative or incentive in ways that you were sort of surprised. That there could even be some surprise help that's coming through for you. That you didn't really see. Very psychic time because of that trine to Neptune. It really opens your psyche up wide. I would definitely listen to dreams. If there is this semi-square to Venus, it would probably be through finances or romance, or the way that you look, that is kind of creating the stimulus, like the external stimulus, to kind of make you surprise yourself in what you decide, or the choices that you decide to make. So Cancer 3s, if you're born between, say, especially July 7th and 17th, especially the 12th and the 13th, this new moon is going to be trine your natal sun. So there is a lot of illumination and harmony about what you need to initiate or bring into your life or start new, so it will give you an open door to help you initiate something or take action. I can't imagine that there's not some hardship that is probably going to be pressing on you around that time, but it is to act as a catalyst to, I don't know, something that I keep saying this, but it's something that you'll necessarily you'll surprise yourself with. Like it will kind of maybe feel like it's come out of the blue. This is very clever energy and very creative energy. So around this time, if there's an opportunity that presents itself, even if it feels odd or that you wouldn't have normally thought about that, do it, because this is, or listen to it, pay attention to it, because this is the gift of the new moon. We also, okay, let's move on to the 14th. So on the 14th, the moon is still trine to Neptune and sextile to Pluto, extraordinarily spiritual and psychic time. So listen to your dreams, write them down. There could be more dreaming at that point. And with the sextile to Pluto, you're not going to be able to escape it. So let it happen. Like, just give over to it. There will be certainties here that your primal instincts may not be able to explain to you. They don't need to be explained. There is that sense of kind of getting a little window into what doesn't make sense, but it is eternal and it's everything you need to know. So that's that hyper-stimulated energy on the 14th. And then the moon moves into Sagittarius. On the 15th of this week, the moon will conjunct to Mercury, sextile to Venus, and trine to Chiron. This could be a very opening day for us, a day where we feel like we can express ourselves, we could receive or information that makes us happy, or this knowledge and understanding that makes us more optimistic and can be helpful to help us like heal or fix a situation that was causing us a lot of stress. And then on the 16th, the sun will square to Neptune, but it will trine the north node and sextile the south node. So I think you'll get some really stimulating ideas or intuitions that can help you sort of relax into a newness or a new direction that you're going to be heading into. And then we have this Capricorn energy, because the moon moves into Capricorn on the 17th. On the 17th, the moon will conjunct to Pluto, which will make all of our moods more extreme. It is also sextile to Neptune and sextile to the moon conjunct Mars at this time, while being squared to the nodes. That could basically mark a real game-changing moment in our lives when we make a decision to definitely step out of our comfort zone, but also act in confidence. There's just energy of feeling very powerful on that day. And since it also involves the same planets that we were just stimulated with on this new moon, that could be when something is executed, something that like popped off around the new moon becomes executed. So Cancer 3s, especially, Cancer 3s, your natal suns at this point will be in opposition to the moon. So it will hyper stimulate you guys, I think, to set the ball rolling, to get things done, or to become very powerfully clear on your next steps. So let's move into the decans, shall we? We have, or maybe clear on, not your next steps, but your feelings. Like, not necessarily even your emotions, but intuitively what you know and understand. There's a lot of clarity for us, sort of awakening, emotional awakening or psychic awakening. So listen to your intuition this week. It is actually extremely stimulated and intelligent. So we have Cancer. Let's go into the decans. Cancer 1. If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Cancer, you guys are Cancer 1. This correlates to June Cancerian. So anybody born between June 22nd and say almost July 1st, that will be you guys. Your natal suns are sextile to Jupiter again, because Jupiter has retrograded back into the first decan of Taurus. This is fortune, this is luck, this is abundance, this is optimism, but because Jupiter is in retrograde, it might, all the stuff that actually, this might be setting you up for something that ends up being delivered when Jupiter comes out of retrograde. I think it's in December, which is not too far away. We have a trine to Saturn. Beautiful things opening up here for you in your career opportunities. We also have a square to Venus through the 16th, so there can be some financial tensions as well as tensions in your romantic relationships. They won't last long, but there will be tension there and challenges there. Ultimately, you will make it through. This quincunx to Mercury through the 16th as well can create some tension when it comes to communication or information. So watch out for those kind of energies. Watch out for them simply by being very patient with yourself and not trying to communicate anything important. Not a great time to date, not a great time to be flirtatious. This will be the time when things would come out awkward and you will be misunderstood, especially at those levels, those those day-to-day levels. But ultimately this week is really an overall, over the next month or so, even more, there is beautiful growth when it comes to your work, your career, who you're becoming. This is actually really helpful energy. And it's only through the 16th, so that you're having that tension with Venus and Mercury. So I would just not schedule any, don't try to like redo your hair or change your aesthetic. Wait till the end of this week or into next week, or and don't expect any of these financial situations to work out that quickly, but toward the end of the week that energy could dissipate. So just so you know, and you can plan well. Let's move on to Cancer 2s. We have, so if you know your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Cancer, that's you guys. This correlates to Cancerian birthdays between July 1st, July 2nd, and July 11th. Your natal suns are square to Chiron, so everything is just harder. It just feels harder, and that's going to be the case for the next year. It's just, it just feels heavier and like everything is extra hard, but it's also making you strong and setting you up for, at least in the next couple of years, a great deal of abundance on the other side, because Chiron comes to you, especially in square form, to train you and prepare you. So if your birthdays are July 2nd through the 4th, your natal suns are sextile to Jupiter still. And if your natal suns are between, say, July 10th and 11th, your natal suns are sextile to Uranus. So the Jupiter babies, that will come out in optimism, right? That'll come out in that sense of I can do it, remaining positive and progressive and open. And July 11th through the 10th, sextile to Uranus, odd and curious, or curious and rebellious. This stimulation to want to try different things or express yourself in different ways. If your natal, no, all of you guys your natal suns are going to be square to Venus come the 17th. So there can be some roadblocks there when it comes to finances or romantic relationships, and that'll go into next week. And then we have a quincunx to Mercury that begins on the 17th. So you guys will get into that hairy position that Cancer 1s are experiencing mostly this week. It will really, really hit you hard toward the end of this week into next week. That it'll really just kind of, this could be financial issues, this could be romance issues, just hyper. You'll be getting a lot of shit that you have to fucking do and deal with when it comes to just missed communications, information, all that crazy crap. Yeah, so if you have important stuff to do, I would do it in the beginning of this week or wait to the end of next week, because those two aspects will dissipate by the end of next week as well. Or just get as much as you can done between the 12th, which is today, and the 15th. That's what I would suggest. These are aspects that won't last that long, I promise you. Then we have Cancer 3s. If you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Cancer, you guys are Cancer 3s. This correlates to Cancerian birthdays between the 12th and the 22nd of July. Your natal suns, especially if you're at the cusps, your natal suns are in opposition to Pluto, and you're square, all of you are square to the nodes. This marks an overall like turning point in your lives. Like you guys are turning a corner with what you thought you'd never do versus what you're willing to do or wanting to do. On the 17th, your natal suns will be in opposition to the moon while it conjuncts Pluto. This will be an especially emotional or extremely emotional day for you. All week long, your natal suns are trine to the sun conjunct Mars. There's a lot of stimulus there to open and grow and to almost like be willing to take more risks than normal. It's actually encouraged. You guys are trine to this. You're trine to the new moon. This is just a newness a newness of who you are or who you can be, like what your energy is capable of. We also have a sextile to Uranus, which is long-term, and that trine to Neptune, which is long-term. This is hyper stimulating you to be more creative and think more outside of the box and be more willing to shift things around in your life. So this could be when you take a lot of that initiative or really start things off with regards to reshaping your life, restructuring, reconstructing who you are. Get into your body this week. That'll be really helpful. Dance classes are always great. This energy, when you're dealing with Mars and your Sun and Neptune, there's a beautiful creativeness here, and sort of it almost feels super physically healthy. Their energy will be very high this week, so enjoy it. You let me know in the comments below how all this energy is impacting you guys, and then definitely like this video and make sure to share it with anybody you think would get something out of it. And then don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I love you guys, and I will talk to you next week. Or I'll see you in the videos. All right, let's move on to Leo. So Leo, what is happening in the zodiac sign of Leo? Once again, nothing. Nada. No big stuff is happening between November 12th and the 18th of 2023. But there's a lot going on with the sun. We do have a new moon. This will be hyper stimulating for you. Of course, it's almost like an opening to a newness, taking action, more energy, higher energy, because Mars is conjunct to it. Mars is conjunct the sun all week. So you guys will almost be like on crack. There's a sense of super forward, knowing who you are, a potency that almost demands that you use your energy. It'll be square to a few of your natal suns, so we're going to go over that. So the sun is in Scorpio, moving between 20 and 26 degrees. It is conjunct to Mars all week, or in an opposition to Uranus all week. What comes to light for you, what you realize, or the things you end up deciding to do, like take action on, will be highly stimulated. It could be odd. You could even surprise yourself. Uranus doesn't like to feel restricted. So especially if you felt restricted, this would be where you take your energy will come out in. There's a new moon on the 13th, which really provides this hyper stimulus toward, I know which direction I need to move. Your natal suns by the 16th are going to, the sun by the 16th is going to be sextile to Pluto, giving it more potency and certainty. And then all week long, it is semi-square to Venus and trine to Neptune. This is a very creative energy. This is a very, I got to get things done. I got to get a move on. I got to take action. I got to know something. I got to bring something to light, because all of this is happening in Scorpio. This sense of recognizing and realizing the sludge around you, what needs to be taken out, what you need to take action on to clean up your life or get healthier. So let's move on to the decans, Leo. If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Leo, you guys are Leo 1s. This correlates to July Leo birthdays. So anybody born between July 22nd and the 31st, you guys would be Leo 1s. If you're born at the cusp, so around July 22nd or 23rd, your natal suns are in opposition to Pluto and square the nodes. This marks a turning point in your life for the rest of this year. This year into next year, this sense of stuff that you thought you'd never do or stuff that used to never attract you, suddenly now you take that corner, you turn that corner, and it is what you're all about. This week through the 16th, your natal suns are sextile to Venus and trine to Mercury. They're long-term sextile to Uranus and square to Jupiter and quincunx to Saturn. You're going to be hyper-stimulated to make changes in your life that will sort of innovate your life. And this is very flirtatious energy with the sextile to Venus, trine to Mercury. You'll be an exceptional communicator. Wonderful week to communicate your ideas, give presentations, go out on job interviews. Like all of those things are wonderful to do because you'll have a natural grace and elegance and eloquence to the way that you speak, to the way that you communicate, to the way that people perceive you. This is actually, it could be a quite productive and optimistic week for you, where you're hyper stimulated to get super creative with yourself and with your life. This is really nice energy, Leo 1s. Leo 2s, if you know your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Leo, that's you guys. This correlates to Leo birthdays between August 1st and the 11th, in and around there. That's an estimate, but in and around there. On the 17th, your natal suns will sextile to Venus and sextile to and trine to Mercury. So it's toward the end of the week for you guys that things can really start opening up and going really nicely for you when you talk to people, when you communicate with them. Your natal suns are in a long-term trine to Chiron, which is healing those wounds, healing those challenges from the past, finding healing because of them and through them. If your birthdays are, say, August 1st through the 3rd, your natal suns are square to Jupiter. If your birthdays are the 11th through the 13th, your natal suns are square to Uranus. Neither of you is going to want to feel restricted. And with that square to Jupiter, for those of you guys born between August 1st and 3rd, the square to Jupiter can make you want to move too fast and grow too fast, or make you feel like things aren't moving fast enough. And it's just not true. It's that you're hyper stimulated for growth. The best way to use this antsiness is to put it into education and allow your mind to grow and learn, even if you don't, especially with Jupiter in retrograde, even if you don't see the expansion happening externally, it's a way to expand yourself internally. And for those of you born between the 11th and the 13th with a square to Uranus, it's almost like anything that triggers something that makes you feel restricted, or you could be feeling more restricted or more oppressed than usual. This sense of, it's almost like a mini midlife crisis. I want to make changes to my life. I want to make changes to my look. You'll be surprising yourself in how independent you want to be, how singular you want to be, how you don't want to be predicted, or you're starting to feel bored with the same old routine. That's really how it'll play out. You'll start to feel really just disinterested in the stuff that used to have value to you. You'll want to go outside that box and start experimenting with other aspects or dynamics of your personal self. Could that be disruptive in your life? Sure, it can be. And that's definitely going to be with you for the next, for a while, because those two are both long term. Let's move on to Leo 3s. If you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Leo, you guys are Leo 3s. This correlates to Leo birthdays between August 2nd and the 22nd. So your natal suns are in a few long-term aspects. There's a quincunx to Pluto, a square to Uranus, a quincunx to Neptune, and if you're at the cusps, the Virgo the Virgo cusp. So if you're born around the 21st, 22nd of August, your natal suns are in opposition to Saturn. So ultimately, what does this mean? Those long-term aspects, there's a lot of pressure there. There's a lot of things that will make you pop offish and take things to the extreme, or really feel your environment and your world changing dramatically. This week, you will be stimulated by that semi-square to Venus, and the square to the Sun conjunction to Mars, and the square to the new moon. So there's a lot of restriction and restraint that you're going to be challenged with this week. This feeling of, especially in terms of finances, because of that semi-square to Venus, there could be agitations when it comes to finances or different things that you desire really getting to you. Especially if you feel like you've been denied them, or that it's like, why has my world all of a sudden gotten so small. So this can be overall a very frustrating week for you. So self-care, meditation, and prayer is highly recommended, just to make you not give up or think that this is permanent. It's not. The square to the sun conjunction to Mars will pass this week. This new moon will kind of hyper stimulate you to understand why I want to make changes in my life, or try to, in some ways, maybe even push you to make changes that you're not ready for. So the restriction might be actually a blessing in disguise. Just an FYI. You guys let me know in the comments below what you're thinking about and how this is impacting you. Please remember to share this video if you think other people would like it. Give it a thumbs up, and then subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet. I love you guys, and I will talk to you in the videos. All right, so now we move on to Virgo. Virgo, what is happening in the zodiac sign of Virgo for the week of the 12th through the 18th of 2023? Nothing. Cancer is a dead zone. Gemini is a dead zone. It's like this whole section of our zodiac is kind of open right now. Not, at least not any major stuff is there, but definitely things are still impacting you. What's going on with Mercury? Good question. Mercury is in Sagittarius and will move between 2 and 12 degrees Sagittarius. It is sextile to Venus all week long, which is very fun and flirtatious and optimistic energy. And then we have a trine to Chiron starting the 17th and a semi-square to Pluto starting the 16th. So if the shit's going to hit the fan or become more intense, and if you're going to become more passionate, and if you're speaking more passionately or wanting to understand things, learn things, or make an impact with your words especially, it will start to happen toward the end of the week, Virgo. Let's move on to the 3 decans of Virgo. If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees, then you are decan 1. This correlates to August Virgos. So if you're born between, say, August 22nd and the 31st, this would be you guys. Your natal suns are in a long-term trine to Jupiter, which is an overall optimism that can kind of act as a backdrop to all of your energy right now. It's always very helpful. There is an opposition to Saturn, which is tough. This feeling of being repressed or not allowed to be who you are is meant to stimulate you, if not just to make you grateful for what you have, then to point out those areas that maybe you need to be a little more extroverted on or to work on. Your natal suns this week through the 16th are going to be square to Mercury. So especially in the beginning of this week, don't sign any important paperwork. Don't sign any, or don't go into any important tests, or if you have to make any important presentations, I would either reschedule it more toward the end of the week or take your time. When there's a square to Mercury, miscommunications will happen. How you present yourself can be easily mistaken, or information might not come in that you expect. So definitely, Virgo, take your time and give yourself a little extra time than you normally would. You guys are usually good at that anyway. This week, it'll really, really help you. Let's move on to Virgo 2s. If you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Virgo, you guys are Virgo 2s. This correlates to Virgo birthdays 1st of September through the 11th of September. Your natal suns on the 17th, by the 17th, will be square to Mercury. So if you got to get any important paperwork or anything, tests or anything like that, communications done, do it in the beginning of the week. Because by the end of the week into next week, you're going to start experiencing almost those Mercury retrograde kind of symptoms where information hasn't come in, the email went to the wrong inbox, people are misinterpreting your words. So things can get a little bit more agitated toward the end of the week. And yeah, you definitely don't want to buy any buy a new computer toward the end of the week or anything like that. Anything that you wouldn't do in a Mercury retrograde, don't do toward the end of this week. Just an FYI. If your natal suns or if your birthdays are between September 1st and 3rd, your natal suns are trine to Jupiter. If your birthdays are between September 9th and 11th, your natal suns are trine to Uranus. This is very harmonious energy of expansion and growth, as well as independence. For those of you born September 1st through 3rd, this is optimism. It really is. It's almost like, even if you're not normally an optimistic person, this is definitely helping you. A lot of just sort of trusting your gut is really great in this energy. And then for those of you born between the 9th and the 11th, this trine to Uranus will make you feel a lot better being independent. This sense of you're going to feel so much more easy when you have to be doing things by yourself, or when surprises arise, it could actually be surprising to other people just how well you're handling it. This is very innovative and even creative energy. Those two are long-term energies for you guys. All of your natal suns are quincunx to Chiron. So if you are taking things a little bit more personally, or feeling like those old injuries, especially physical injuries, are starting to creak and ache more, this is why, and it'll be like that through next year, just an FYI. Let's move on to Virgo 3s. If you know that your natal suns are between 20 and 29 degrees, you guys are Virgo 3s. This correlates to Virgo birthdays between the between September 12th and the 22nd. This week, your natal suns are sextile to that sun conjunction to Mars and to that new moon. This is extraordinary energy for taking leaps forward and beautiful opportunities coming through. Trust your body, trust the stimulation. You will take more risks, but they're not actually going to be risky. There is that sense of just progress and push that is really beautiful. So big movements forward this week. Great time to do your manifestations over that new moon. Take initiative on what new things you want to bring into your life, because this is a potent energy to actually get those gears rolling. There is a long-term opposition to Neptune, which of course can cause distraction. I think it'll also stimulate you to be very creative, especially with this sextile to the sun conjunction to Mars this week. Beautiful energy. We also have a trine to Uranus and a trine to Pluto. Extraordinary energy, Virgo, that's running in the background of your life. But this week, you're going to be super ready for newness, for freshness. You're going to be super ready for, things starting to move forward with you, roll forward with you, and super ready to take initiative. So definitely trust those energies. This is a beautiful new moon on the 13th for you. So you let me know, how is this impacting you? Feel free to leave your comments below. Give me a big old thumbs up if you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you really like this video, please share it with people that you know would love it too. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.